one
I'm
on
quite-
you. That's engaged.
You should have agreed on them.
Yeah,
I can't remember which one's engaged.
No, that's
Come on,
fine, that's fine.
Okay.
how are you, Jeff?
Good. I'm back in retirement, which
Oh, okay.
means now I'm back to doing other things 24/7.
Oh, okay.
And see what she recommends. She don't chat so much.
What did I do?
And I'm gonna leave
What
that.
did I do?
I got two questions. So we do these in the cards?
You need some?
I'm sorry.
Who do we do headshots with them? 12. I have hair.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What time is mine?
Deal for them anyway.
I'll remind you.
Okay.
But, yeah, it's something like that.
I didn't even, I just thought about it.
I'll remind you.
So we still visited with them over yesterday. You had a fresh immune to it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about it.
They're much better.
So here, this Saturday, there's some, this is what we do. So I'll be there for it. Yeah. How are you guys?
Are you excited? And you're gonna go visit multiple times?
I think they will once they figure out hands
Went
what.
after the wedding, yeah.
Is that the focus?
Makes me
One thing
happy.
at a time. Yes, we got,
Does that make you feel?
we got 4 days. And now
They're welcome to come. Everybody, whoever wants to come.
we won't see
That's good that I know you're right. Or what about how you ended up your trip?
They were here for Thanksgiving. They left today, this morning, and
Was it one trip or more?
well, given to them at 8 o'clock, and we're back.
Did they have any issue with them getting on site?
It's always
You know, Lindsay and his wife are both in the school. History.
Good, how you?
They're foster folks.
really.
They went to prom together.
Doing really good.
They love it.
Enjoying your time.
He was out like
So how's the fiber business? Is that what you do?
Company has signal, signing, marking.
Oh,
But I guess it's very big, so I don't think they see each other very much. But anyway, he's enjoying, he has 8 hours of seniors, and he's like, I teach these kids because it's so much fun.
Well,
What's up, young lady? You see me?
He's a top. He's a quiz.
I know.
Oh, I thought that was his only son.
Can't even talk to them.
But you want to hand me.
Okay. I saw her.
No, I hope.
Marco, the company I just left, they have signalization on their name, but they're quitting doing signalization.
I can't remember what it is.
They won't let your guy that owns that know.
Okay.
Yeah, Carolina Power and Signal is just Carolina Power.
Yeah, there's some small companies that are coming out and doing civil. Well, we're the only ones that do all 4 or 5 in the country. there's nobody else that does all this stuff. Everybody does individually.
Because that means Kelly and Jeff will be staying.
Yes, yes.
Walter over here doesn't know, said he heard that one. He was
Y'all never did update the clock for daylight savings.
I guess not. It don't look like it.
Who does not, does it?
That's beyond my reach, so,
That's out of your, that's out of your pay grade?
yeah.
And also out of your reach.
Mainly out of my reach, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I do,
That's what he said.
Oh, April just noticed it.
So, when did you start?
Oh, I just retired from that back at the end.
You were working for a company down in Federal.
Yeah, that's Carolina Power. And they quit doing signal. They couldn't make money at it.
y'all still letter.
Two minutes.
After his fingers don't get on a ladder, you'll be in the cast next.
We ain't gonna talk about that.
Is this something?
Not sure, I got it in here.
Good evening. We're here tonight to call to order the April 6, 2026 Board of Commissioners meeting of the Town of Princeton. I'd like to start with a invocation, please. Most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day, and Lord, we thank you as we come forward to do the business of the town. Lord, we ask for wisdom and discernment in all that we decide tonight for the citizens of this wonderful town, and we pray that we do your will. Lord, just be with us, guide us, and direct us in all that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. All right, next we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance led by U.S. Air Force Major Nolan Flood.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'd like to have you step forward and I'll present these. So we have a certificate of honor. And the town of Princeton recognizes you. Thank you, sir. I do appreciate you coming over. Appreciate it very much, sir. Thank you. Thanks, sir. Sir, you're welcome. All right, next on the agenda is the approval of the board minutes from March 2nd, 2026.
Make the motion that we accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
All right, I have a first, I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. And the motion carries 4-0. All right, next on the agenda is to adopt the agenda for tonight. And I'm asking the board to strike number 12, if they wouldn't mind, 13D, and also 15, the fire tax discussion.
So that was 12,
13D
13D.
and 15.
13D and 15.
We will table those for later discussion. With that being said, can I get a motion?
I'll give that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion and I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 4-0. All right, with that, I'm asking the board to adopt the agenda for the April 6th board meeting as so changed.
Make the motion that we adopt the agenda as changed.
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Mr. Boyd? Okay, motion passes 4-0. All right, next on the agenda is comments from the board, and I have a few that I would like to state tonight. T.A. King and I met with Mr. Ricky Davis, who is the plant manager of the Heidelberg Materials 2 weeks ago. We had the privilege of touring the rock quarry, and it was very impressive. They employ about 29 staff members at this site, and most of them live here locally. The quarry is willing to partner with the town for community events, and we do appreciate them opening their doors to us and showing us around. We also were able to discuss the future water needs for the town with more information to come on that in the future. Also, tonight is our first budget meeting. The town administrator has been working on preparing the fiscal year 26-27 budget. There are several key items that we will discuss tonight to better prepare for the future. We're also invited all of the board, and I'm sure anyone in the town who would like to, are invited to the grand opening ribbon cutting on Sunday, May 3rd at 2 p.m. at the new medical office, Crown Concierge Medicine, located at 205 West Edward Street. And as we go into the meeting tonight, I would like to remind everybody to please refrain from talking in the audience, as when we're doing these meetings, we're trying to record them, and when we get background noise, it does make it hard to decipher what's going on, so we'll ask that everybody be quiet. If you do need to talk or do anything, just step outside, take care of it, then you come back in. Okay? Any of the other commissioners? Yes.
The Princeton Public Library is having their Easter egg hunt this Saturday at 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock. For all who would like to keep the Easter spirit alive.
Anyone else? All right. Next up on the agenda is public comments. And this is a time for residents to speak directly to the board on matters of concern or interest. This is not a question and answer period, but we will listen carefully and respect your discussion. Please keep your comments respectful and within 3 minutes so everyone has an opportunity to be heard. Again, this is just a listening opportunity. Is there anybody that would like to speak? Okay. Next on the agenda is the capital improvement plan, and I believe that's going to be presented by Ms. Marla Ashworth.
Good evening. It's good to be in front of you again. It's been a while. I have been working on your capital improvement plan with input from staff and bringing in projects that are proposed in your water, sewer, and stormwater AIAs. And all 3 of those documents are still in production, so there may be some more things that come out of that, but we've got some of the more urgent things pulled out and included in your plan. And so I want to take a minute to tell you the approach that the plan takes. It takes the approach that whatever is in the first column, which is fiscal year 26-27, the budget you're about to start working on tonight, those things are pretty much guaranteed to be in your budget that you're working on, unless you just run out of money. But there have been designated or determined that it's something you need right away and that should be included in your upcoming budget. And the potential funding sources are listed. And then other things are spaced out over the next 4 years. And then if there's something that came up that looked like you were gonna need it in the next 6 to 10 years, it's just in a future years column. But the way that this document is going to help you is that as soon as you adopt this, which you don't need to adopt it tonight, you need to adopt it with your budget. As soon as this is adopted, your budget is adopted in July, everybody needs to start thinking about, okay, what are we gonna do next year? And gathering information, and so that when you get to your planning retreat in February of next year, you know what you want to try to work into this plan, and then you can do it on a staff level, you can have us come back in and help you. So that as the budget is prepared, whatever is in the FY 27-28 column that's been identified that you need to do for that year is there, and the funding sources have been determined. And so it's gonna be a living document for you. And there's one of the pieces of the paper in your packet is kind of that life cycle of how this will work for you. And so it's not just a document you put on the shelf when you're done, you're done. It's a document that you should be able to use in concert with your budget preparations every year and at your planning retreat every year to make sure you're hitting all your goals and looking forward to what your goals are gonna be. And so with that said, you have two colorful pieces of paper. And I have everything on one sheet of paper, but in your plan it'll be broken out. But the general fund is the piece of paper with a lot of blue, a little bit of orange and green on it. And so the first section is administration. And so we got information from the staff that a storage building and some office furniture were a need in the near future, but not this year. And so those are spaced out. And then public Wi-Fi was a discussion at your most recent planning retreat. And so I was just looking around, and there's actually a USDA Community Connect grant that may be a source for funding for the first 2 years of your public Wi-Fi. And I've shared that information with Mr. King. After discussing it with him, we put it as a potential for the 27-28 year if that's a grant that will fit what you want to do and you apply for it and you get it. But one of the beauties of this is if we get to the FY 27-28 discussions next year and you didn't get that grant and you don't have the funds to pursue public Wi-Fi, you just move it to the year that you think that you're going to be able to do it. So it's not, if you adopt it today in 27-28, it's not written in stone. You'll be reevaluating this and all the new things that come up over the next year and before you settle on the plan for next year.
Let me just ask one
Okay.
question. So what would you consider to be public Wi-Fi?
I think, if I remember correctly, you don't have to help me, there was it was mentioned in the minutes from your retreat about having Wi-Fi downtown.
Basically just access for students, businesses, if we had open space that the internet would be free to use. The town would cover the cost, but it'd be free to the public.
Okay. Okay.
And then there was discussion about admin building inspection vehicle, and I think there's one that's going to be purposed for that right now, but down the road, FY 30-31, it was determined that you might need to purchase a new one or an additional one, whichever. And then Parks and Recreation, you've been working on your park master plan. And so you identified some park improvements. And I think you're applying for the Part F grant, the Land Water Conservation Fund grant, and you've got fees in lieu to use. That all that's gonna come together for a project that's likely not gonna start till fiscal year 27, 28. And then at your plan retreat this year, for sure, I remember this, that you, a multi-generational recreation and sports complex was discussed sometime in the future. And so there's a lot of different ways that can go, partnerships that maybe you can seek out, grants that you can seek out. I'm not really sure what your intent would be for that building, but we put it as a future thing. And I don't think it's too crazy to put that up there, because 10 or 12 years ago, we were talking about a new community building, and it seemed crazy, but it's not crazy anymore, because there it is, right over there on Center Street. So you got to think. So that's how this plan works. I mean, it's not the next year or two, but 10 years down the road, is that something we're going to want to do? Are we going to work towards that? Are we going to be looking for ways to make that happen? And so then the patrol vehicles, every 2 years, we know what the current price is for the one that you're buying this year. So, and for inflation, we use 3% per year for everything. And then we discussed mobile and portable radios. I think that, I can't remember how many of them. There's 16 total, and about half of them are at or close to their normal lifespan. So we divided it up that so it works out every 5 years or so, you're replacing half of your radios. Because I think 10 years was like the max maybe on them. You're in the green section, that's your Western Princeton Drainage Project. That is at the railroad engineers right now, waiting for their comment. So we feel like that's going to be definitely done in 26, 27. Your streets and sanitation section is, they had quite a few things that they were interested in adding to the equipment list or replacing as time went on. One was a leaf machine, which I think is proposed in the budget this year. And I also need to sign that the funding source pay-go means that you're just going to pay for it out of your regular funds, whether it's your taxes or trash fees or fees in lieu, just whatever it's cash you have on hand or that you intend to receive this year, and you're not going to finance it or use a grant money or anything to pay for it. And then the lawnmowers over time need to be replaced so we put them in there starting in 27, 28, about every 5 years. Another thing that was in one of your planning documents, plan retreat documents, was sidewalk extension and potential bicycle lane. And so we put that down, and again, I was just looking around for funding opportunities, and I found the DOT has a multimodal planning grant to help municipalities plan that type of project. And you may have already applied, we're not sure, but if you haven't, it's something that Mr. King is going to look at. And if you get that planning grant done, then we can probably might can move some of these things up. But we were looking at the town spending some money every year working towards following that plan. And then your street paving, you did some street paving and you financed it for a period of time, and that's supposed to be done in fiscal year 29-30. So we were looking at you doing a similar amount of street pavement again and finance it the same way. There's a dump truck projected to be needed in 29-30 and a garbage truck in 30-31. So again, this isn't written in stone, it's just a prediction. Much like a budget, it just covers more years. So the only thing that you're looking at that you we're saying that you're really gonna concentrate on and do is that FY 26-27 column. Any questions? And then, we get to the water sewer. So, one of the projects that is actually in your water and sewer AIA, but we were already working on trying to get funding for it, was radio read meters. And then there are some water system upgrades that were in the project scope for USDA that we ran out of budget for, if you'll remember. So we took a couple of those and packaged it with the radio read meters and put in a funding application. And that's the funding that you were just approved for in February. You haven't got any documents on it yet, though. The Viable Utilities Reserve and the State Revolving Fund. You got right at $1 million, not quite $1 million, to put in radio read meters and do those couple of water projects that we pulled out. And so there are still some water projects out there, about $1 million worth at our current estimate. And I talked to Mr. King about this today. If you meet again in April and want to do it, you can adopt a resolution to apply for water funding, and we can put in an application, but it has to be in by April the 30th. But we have all the documentation and information we need to do it, so it would just be up to you if you want to adopt a resolution to apply. And you can do it tonight if you want to, Bishop, but as long as we get it before the end of, we know that you want to do it, and we get the resolution for the end of April, we can do that. Now, this is gonna be the complicated part. In the sewer section, we've got your wastewater treatment plant upgrade and expansion. We got comments back on the amendment to the PER to use the different technology instead of expanding out into a package plant. And so we have to review that and come up with a response. And so that'll be going on this week. But that's a fully funded project. And then another project that we put together was the last few things from the USDA project a couple of years ago on the sewer side, plus a sewer line that was found to be sagging on Walnut Street.
That's correct.
And we were able to get Viable Utility grant funding for that in the last funding round. And so again, that has been announced, and I think I'll do a press release on it, but sometime in the next few weeks, you should be getting notification from the state of that funding and the next steps to take so that you can get those projects underway. Now here's where things are going to get interesting. A backhoe, a work truck, a bypass pump, and at least a generator for Pine Street are all needs that have come up that seem to be pretty urgent. And that's a lot of stuff. But there's another paper in your packet that looks like this, that says Princeton Church Lift Station funding. Somehow or another, we did your lift station project at Princeton Church and constructed it with very little change orders, and we have $218,000 left of that funding that I think, fairly high level of confidence, we can get the state to agree that you can spend on other sewer related expenses. And these are the options. You bought a sampler this year. We could ask that you be reimbursed for that sampler. And then the list for next year is the backhoe, the Pine Street generator, a service truck, and a bypass pump. You can't get all of them, but you can get some of them. And the things that are in italics, the bypass pump and the backhoe, those are just guesses that Mr. King and I came up with on the cost. The ones that are not in italics, we know those are the costs because we have firm quotes on them. So, what I propose is that we do an amendment to our contract so that we can help you get these things approved, and get the funding, get them ordered and funded and paid for. And the fee that we would charge is $6,550, which leaves you $211,640 to spend. But we just need to know, do you want to reimburse yourself for the sampler? Do you want to go for the backhoe? Do you want to go for, the concrete generator and maybe another generator? But how would you like to spend $211,000?
Wasn't the sampler supposed to be added in with the new plant expansion?
It could have been. And it's possible when we get to that, because we can't draw funds from that until it goes to construction, it's possible that we can get it authorized for reimbursement then, but I'm not going to guarantee it.
Well, it would seem to me that we would try to get the reimbursement for sure. And whatever funds that we would have left to purchase as much as we could.
Well, my recollection of the deal was that the sampler was going to be put in a part of the plant expansion. We'd be reimbursed for it from that. Instead of being out of the 211,000 or whatever it would be left.
But I think she said that we can't get that until,
We can't even get it until the plant expansion starts, but it should be going out to bid.
This year?
So,
When you say this year, earlier this year or late this year? Because I know we're supposed to be going out for bid about now.
And on the original schedule, I do not recall the new schedule, that's what we looked at. And it's all dependent on how quick the turns to loose.
We've identified several needs in the water sewer side that are pretty important. One is the backhoe needs an extensive amount of work, and it's a little over 5,500 hours, somewhere in 5,800 hours, somewhere in that range. And normally you start having trouble with a piece of equipment like that around 8,000 to 10,000 hours. So we could put some money into it and ride on for a little while, and but it will take some money to repair it, and we do have someone coming out tomorrow to take a look at it, to give us an assessment of the machine.
but we are planning to replace the backhoe.
That's up to
that
the
was a
board.
suggestion.
Yeah. The other thing we have is we have 3 generators at pump stations throughout town that are relatively old and are in need of replacement. At least we think they are. And according to Brian, his best assessment with who he's had out, we've got 2 Kohlers and an old Army generator.
Correct.
And one's dating 90s with the Army generator, 2007 or 17?
It's 96 is the Army generator, 07, and I won't say the other one was like 08.
So relatively old, but they're like 50 kW, so they're, you know, it's a substantial amount of money to
So-
replace all 3 generators.
So do we know about how many hours that we actually have on those generators where they actually ran?
You got it in your truck?
Yeah.
You can go get it, please, if you don't mind. Yes, we'd asked him to collect that information today.
When we were looking at your backhoe the other day, just a quick Google search, when is my backhoe old or something like that, 5,500, north of 5,500 hours is when you start having major issues, and I think that's right where you are, at 5,500 hours.
I agree with that.
The potential to have major costly repairs increases after 5,500 hours. Because we were talking about, you know, writing a quick request / justification to DWI why the town needs certain pieces of equipment, that was gonna be justification for a backhoe there.
And so if we did purchase a new backhoe, do we have any estimate of what we'd be able to sell our backhoe for?
The condition it's in right now, it would not be a lot. Because if I had to guess, I went out last week and looked at the backhoe. And if I had to guess right now, you're looking probably north of $20,000 in repairs on it. Right now.
So if we were to sell it,
That's
that's it. Because obviously, if we replace it, that we're going to sell, and so I'm asking about how much would we expect to get for it?
One in running condition that you could say you wouldn't have to do anything to it, you're probably looking at $30,000.
But that's not the case with the one that we have.
The one we've got right now, the hood is busted all the pieces on it. Both front lift cylinders leaking on it. Bucket is needing some repair on the front. The back boom's got a broken pin in it. Outrigger's got a messed up pin in it.
So it sounds like he's on life support.
$2,500.
Well-
This is a little,
Well, the thing is, if the repairs have been kept up over a period of time, it wouldn't be so bad, but it has snowballed into one big problem, and that's going to be expensive to fix.
So probably if we sold it, probably wouldn't get much
If
enough.
you sold it right now, you probably get $10,000 for it.
And the new one or refurbished one will run us about how much?
The new one's going to be 120 to 150, depending on whatever what options you get with it. Oh yeah, they're very pricey.
I mean, that's, I'm keeping the sound that everybody kept whenever they were off to see the wizard. Oh my.
I'm just one vote, one person. My thoughts are we repair the backhoe we have right now and let's ride it for another 4 years or so and regroup on it then. Because
Then what
the
would
hours we put on it a year are, Brian, how many hours did you figure out the other day we run that backhoe a year? Did we figure it's like 3 hours a week?
Yes, 3 to 4 hours a week.
No way.
About 380 hours a year.
yeah.
So I mean, at that, put another 3,000 hours on it, it's gonna take a while.
But we gotta actively be prepared for it. And it's not like we don't have something here that, we got other needs. So it's not like we would be, we were hoping it would jump us ahead, we could gain some years on this thing. But it's not playing out that way. We've got other needs in water and sewer, so with those needs, the money could be well spent.
So I guess my question would be what, just a small ballpark figure, what would we be looking at to try to, fix it or get it to the point that it?
I think it's gonna be probably around $20,000. I'll find out more tomorrow. I've got Caterpillar coming out tomorrow to do an assessment on it. And when they get that back to me, I'll forward it to everybody so you can see it.
So what are you saying, in your opinion, the 218 is for generators?
Generators, there's other needs
We have
that I think are more pressing than just replacing the backhoe and repair what we have.
After all that you just said is wrong with it?
I'd whole lot rather spend $20,000 to fix it than spend $146,000 on a new one.
But we have the money.
But we have other
We
needs
got other
too.
stuff we need to do. We've got trucks over there that are dinosaurs. I mean, they're old.
So, I understand that before we found out that you had leftover money from the lift station project, that you were planning to purchase a, service truck, or you were intending to purchase a service truck in this budget. So, I would propose this. We can ask the state to let you use your money to buy 3 generators and a truck and a bypass pump and hoses, because that's just a little bit of change in the whole scheme of things. And based on our estimates that we have, which the only thing that's not an estimate really is the bypass pump. The, you would be about $104,000. Where did I get that from?
3 in addition to the one you have here, for 4 total, or 3?
Generators.
There's three listed
total.
here.
Oh, I'm looking at this
But-
one, sorry. I got you, I was looking at here.
So the 3 generators and a service truck and a bypass pump add up to $258. And we have $211 to work with, so basically, it wouldn't cover the truck, is what it boils down to. You would still have to pay
That doesn't-
cash for the truck or not get one of the generators and.
We might want to look at like 1 or 2 generators and the truck, or some combination.
So what I was getting at is if you can do 2 of the generators and the truck, that would free up your truck money to pay for your backhoe repair. That you were going to budget $46,000 for a truck, that gives you money for your backhoe repair.
The generators, we have a 96 Army, which has 94.4 hours, which, is that right? Is it? The 07 Kohler, which has 819 hours, and a 08 Kohler that has 538 hours on it, which we might could salvage one of the Kohlers to run a couple more years or see what we can do. We just have to check that out extensively. But
Yeah, the hours are deceiving because that's very low hours. The problem is the age.
I wonder how many times that thing cycles. I mean, every time.
If you ran that generator continuously, you could get 8,000 to 10,000 hours out of it running. Problem is where they sit.
You accounted for how much inflation each year after?
3%.
I mean, so if you deduct that and.
So if we go back, I think the quotes were 75, one was 75, 2 or 3, and one was 75, 6 or 7 on the other Tennessee air generators. They were within a couple of $100 of each other.
So you're not too far off.
Mm-hmm.
And so, going back to the generator again, like, some of them sound like that they really don't have that many hours on them where they actually ran, but they've just been exposed to the elements.
For 18 plus years.
We may want to get
It-
an assessment on
Part of,
just.
they want 18 years old on
An
it.
Well,
assessment,
they said 2007 and 2008.
to see what we can get out of them.
In 1990.
Flies
The
when
worst
you're-
thing with something like that, when you let it sit, it deteriorates, whether you use it or not. So if you don't replace them, it's going to be no different than tobacco. You're going to end up having to get somebody to come out that works on it and spend a bunch of money on it. Because basically wiring, all your fuel system, everything on it is deteriorating.
Well, now you no longer have to convince me because I didn't hear the 18 years old.
Is this a now decide question? Are we?
the 2 Kohlers are not.
It's a now decide question because the sooner we ask, so we can ask for more than you got money to pay for. But we left in the grant, and then just when the grant money runs out, you stop requesting it. So if you, what I'm looking for, you decide tonight is what you want to ask to spend the money on. I'm not asking you to commit to spending the money on that, but we can ask for more than we have, so that all of it's approved, and then you can figure out over the next couple months.
So we
Which
ask for
scenario
all,
you want
so
to
we
go?
ask for all of it then?
We can.
You,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's what I
then
would do.
see where it lands.
Choose from there.
I don't think we need to ask for the back over 3 generators, I think, or 2 generators. I think we need to ask for 2 generators or 1 generator or the backhoe, leave the truck out. But if you want to, if you're surely going to know that you're going to fix the generator, I say we leave that out and put the rest of it in.
So it sounds.
Generator backhoe.
backhoe. If you're gonna fix the backhoe, we put in the generators, and we can put in all 3 generators in the truck and, the bypass pump. And get it all approved.
When do we find out?
It probably would take 2 or 3 weeks.
And then does this go out to bid? How does that work?
I'd have to, so we have to follow your procurement policy and, the state procurement rules. That if we don't do the backhoe route, everything costs less than $90,000, so you can do informal bids. But you would have to show 3 bids on each thing, except for the, bypass pump and hoses, you probably just get a couple on that.
So if we went with your idea, that would buy us some time. And one of the things that the board could do in the meanwhile, we could work on our secondary plan just in case that falls through. And we will still have time because we've done it early enough where we've still got time before we have the numbers right. Because we still will have some budget time left.
So we're asking for all of
All of the backhoe.
them. Okay.
So 3 generators for the bypass pump.
I have no problem with that because we can amend it later.
Yeah.
During that time, we still get an assessment on the generator to see
Yep.
what they look like.
This is a really good problem to have.
Yep.
$211,000 you got to spend for the end of this year.
I think we could probably spend.
Now, these repairs to the backhoe, that would not be asked for, that's correct.
No, but what I'm saying is, since you were looking at potentially paying directly for the service truck, and if we can get it included in this funding that you already have, then that's money that you can reallocate when you're further down your budget line to do, the repairs of backhoe.
About half of what we had allocated.
So when do you anticipate this will be finished? You said adopt with the,
Yeah, you need to adopt, we need to keep it open and you adopt it with your budget. And so once we figure out all these things and get the funding figured out, get some quotes in, and you make a decision which way you're gonna spend your $211,000, we can adopt it with the, budget. But there are some other sections to it about, how you pay for, this section about how you pay for things, which we all know is either taxes, fees, financing, or grant money. I mean, that's your options. And the discussion about how to maintain it each year. And then there's some detailed sections about the projects and the need for them and why you're spending the money on it. And for these things, it's kind of been like a 2-year process coming up to the upcoming budgets list. But I still want you to see that so that when you start on the next year's update, you're thinking about those things. And Michael and I talked the other day, some things that hadn't come up yet that we really need to think about is upkeep or capital upkeeps at your lift stations. Things that are gonna cost more than, your regular maintenance type things.
like big motors and pumps
Right.
and
Yeah, pumps, things like that.
And I will say, these generator quotes are the only ones we've gotten so far. Stacy and I called today, we've got somebody who's going to give us a quote, and we're trying to get another, so good chance those numbers could decrease.
Yeah, we don't have to have quotes to ask for the funds, we just have to justify that the town has the need. And be specific that you need a generator at each of these 3 lift stations, and that you need, a bypass pump and hoses and a half ton four-wheel drive truck with a service license.
Our, two pieces of equipment I see that are not on here that we have is the information boards that were added in the plan. And we might need to add those in here,
To replace them or do major overhauls.
whatever. And then
What is the, what is the item, what is the
the
item?
information boards that we put outside the road that, let
Okay.
people know what's going on.
Now, would you
okay.
consider that more of a street expense? Or parks and recreation?
I would say probably streets and
Yeah, probably
and maybe a little park or rec. I mean, it's used for various things, but mainly
Didn't we get some
direction.
of those through the police department, getting grants to purchase those?
It wasn't, they weren't grants, it was a federal program where you can get federal equipment that they're not using, they were surplus by the federal government. And we got 4 of them.
Yeah.
Probably just need to get these,
And I know they've been redone, like the panels have been redone on one time.
All of them are not too long.
And then I had seen something too about a town hall refurbishment. Is that in here, or has that been taken out, or?
I wouldn't give it a town hall refurbishment, I was given storage building and office furniture.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was a refurbishment or.
I really don't see the need in this in 10 years. What about rooftops, like at the shingles, like at the park, at the sewer plant, things like that, where we have to go in and replace roofs?
We can definitely include those. What we would need to do is, one, determine the first year we think we would have to pay for it, and two, how much we think it will cost. And then we can get today's dollars, what it would cost in today's dollars, and then apply inflation each year. So we
Yeah,
don't,
this was just done last year, this roof, so, but it snuck up on us. It was a surprise. It lasted almost 20 years.
but I feel really good that your immediate needs for the coming budget, we have captured. We can add in these things you're talking about for the plan that you adopt this year, or we can be ready to add them in with the information we gather for next year's plan.
Does anyone have any more questions?
And I have one more question. So if you do repair the backhoe, then you said you get 4 more years out of it. So you would want to purchase a new backhoe to fiscal year 29 or 30 or 30/31?
Let's say somewhere there, I think we've got a garbage truck in 30/31, so we're gonna want to avoid that year if we can.
There's 2 different options.
Probably 25.
Yeah.
What I see is just
Yeah.
water sewer versus.
And now, remind me again how many years that we have left to pay for our garbage?
9, 29, 29.
9, so that's in
3 years.
3 years. And do we think our garbage truck is gonna last 3 more years?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Don't have to.
I was gonna say, if we make it last year, we will.
yeah.
I would think the objective there would to be buy a new one, sell the pine level truck or trade it in, sell the pine level truck, and then the one we have now will become our backup. And hopefully run it for another 10 years. And then we just keep one going out.
What year did you move back to?
I moved it to 29/30. That was 4 years.
This will be a good tool in looking ahead as far as budgeting this year. You also look into what you're needing next year and the following year, and trying to manipulate some of that stuff so you get hit with 2 big projects or 2 big capital assets.
Well, I had never had one of these to work with before when I was pilots here, and but going through this process, I see the benefits of it. So July 1, you start looking in this column for 27 and 28, the things you want to accomplish, how are you going to pay for them? Are we going to just have the money to do that? Do we need to go look for the grant funds? Do we need to go into a partnership with somebody? Is it something that we're willing to finance? If so, how long do we need to finance it? And how is that going to affect the budget over the next few years? I mean, you can really nerd out if you try it. But, as far as like, it's very easy to add something to the plan. So if you think of something, I've got those signs, roofs at the park and the plant, and lift station upkeep. There's potential things to add in future years. So if you come up with something else, if you let Michael know, I just need to know what year you're thinking about and how much it would cost, at least this year. How much would it cost to do it?
What about like relining manholes or anything like that that are at big I&I issues?
So that is what I think is still to come out of your sewer AIA. Because there's that, and I think that you need to camera your system. But I believe there's manhole inspections in your AIA, but I have to get back and I haven't had a chance to dive into it. And, but you haven't had any CCTV work done, but the town has been slip lining and repairing pipes for years. But I think it's probably, if we worked it to consider putting together a project that involved doing some CCTV work and point repairs based on those results.
You mentioned there was a resolution that you needed. Is that right, resolution?
Yes.
Is that something that we can adopt tonight or make a, get that taken care of so we
Do
don't?
you have a copy of that on you?
I don't, I was afraid. You get credit.
Well, it depends on how they feel. So it's a resolution by the town board that says that you intend to apply for funding from DWI for a water projects identified your water AIA process, and that you're going to follow all their rules, and you designate Michael King to sign the application. You have to adopt, we did two last year. The ones that we had to adopt them for the funding you just received. We did the exact same resolution in the fall for those water and sewer projects and stuff.
Motion to adopt.
And Michael does have a copy of it in his email.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it printed out. I sent it to your email.
And if you want to do that, I made one for any sewer repairs we can think of in the next 30 days to apply for.
And that would include like line manhole?
Right, if we can, yeah. We can pull a good application together between now and the end of the month. But I don't see why we couldn't. But without the resolution, we can't.
That was my next question, to make sure you don't get it into. We just lined a manhole over on Holmes Pond Road last week, and they're got to come back to epoxy it. I talked to Matthew this evening, but it really looks sharp once done.
So the one for sewer says that you're going to apply for the project to reduce I&I.
Well, I mean, every one of these we kill helps us. It hasn't rained much lately, but it certainly it does stop a lot. Do we want to wait for that to get back here?
Yeah, she's going to print it for
I'll read it to you. How about that?
it.
Well, let me answer another question you asked me before I lose the answer to it again. Our revised schedule for the wastewater treatment plant has us going to bid in August.
How does that work with our deadline?
So we proposed this to USDA, and I didn't see anything in their comments about the new schedule we proposed. It puts your substantial completion date for construction November 30th of 2027, which I think is maybe just a couple of months behind the original schedule. And because it's December, we pushed out final completion to the end of February, because a lot of times contractors don't do a lot in December, in the first of January.
And what do, there were comments that come back that caused this to be pushed? Is that
No.
responding or?
No, that it ended up getting pushed because we were working on an amendment to use that different to go a different route. And I don't know what it was a new technology, there was a big discussion about it. So instead of purchasing a package plant, we want to add some technology to the observation units and build another clarifier. So we're working on that amendment. So that put us behind it. In the background, we've been designing towards the new design. So once we get USDA to sign off on it, it shouldn't take too long to get to be in from there.
So it's pretty much drawn
Right.
and designed.
We just need a blessing to finalize it and put it out here. All right, here, you ready to hear your resolutions?
Yes.
Whereas the town of Princeton has a need for and intends to construct, or conduct a study in a project described as sewer collection system improvements to remove inflow infiltration, and whereas the town of Princeton intends to request state loan and/or grant assistance for the project, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the town of Princeton that the town of Princeton, the applicant, will arrange financing for all remaining costs of the project if approved for a state loan and/or grant award. That the applicant will provide for efficient operation and maintenance of the project on completion of construction thereof. That the applicant will adopt or place into effect on or before completion date of the project a schedule of fees and charges and other available funds which will provide adequate funds for proper operation, maintenance, and administration of the system and the repayment of all principal and interest on the debt. That the governing board of the applicant agrees to include in the loan agreement a provision authorizing the state treasurer, upon failure of the town of Princeton to make a scheduled repayment of the loan, to withhold from the town of Princeton any state funds that would otherwise be distributed to the local government unit in an amount sufficient to pay all sums then due and payable to the state as repayment of the loan. That Michael King, town administrator, the authorized representative, and successor so titled is hereby authorized to execute and file an application on behalf of the applicant for the state of North Carolina for a loan and/or grant to aid in the study of or of the project described above. That the authorized representative and successors so titled is hereby authorized and directed to furnish such information as the appropriate state agency may request in connection with such application for the project, to make assurances as contained above, and to execute such other documents as may be required in connection to the application. That the applicant has substantially compiled or will substantially comply with all federal, state, and local laws, rules, regulations, ordinances, and funding conditions applicable to the project and to federal and state grants and loans pertaining thereto. Adopted this the 6th day of April, 2026 at Princeton, North Carolina.
So, did I hear correctly that if we do not get funding for the project through a grant, that we will seek to get a loan in the amount to do the work?
No, they're saying if you didn't get grant and/or loan funding sufficient to complete the project, that you would figure out where the rest of the money would come from. So you ask for $1 million now, and they can come up with $800,000 for you, that you'd figure out where to get the other two.
Not that we couldn't change what we were seeking to do to meet
Right.
what we were.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then you, so you never know if you're gonna get offered grant or loan, or in the middle is principal forgiveness loan. So part of your, water funding is principal forgiveness loan. So you have to pay a closing fee, but you don't have to pay back any of the money. So I think it's what, maybe $2,000 you have to pay, and they're gonna give you several $100,000.
Oh,
How much is the potential what's the funding limit? I mean,
Most of the time, $2 to $3 million
so,
is the limit for the project, but the ones that are closer to $1 million, $800,000 to $1 million, seem to go through pretty easily, because that gives them the opportunity to spread more money around.
So don't ask for too much.
Right.
so I guess that's what I'm getting at, is we're not asking for all of this backhoe plus, because,
Oh, this is funding, we're talking about doing for construction projects.
sorry, I'm still on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
This is like to replace water lines and sewer lines, and
Okay.
rehab manholes and things like that.
And there's a substantial amount of manholes around town that have I issues that are brick built, they're old. Correct. And so relining these things will stop that.
And so the difference between that and the other one is that the other one says that you want to seek a project to repair your water distribution system based on information that was obtained during your AIA process and all that other stuff.
So I guess you would let us know what you needed to get this filled out, and we would identify where we wanted to go. Or do we just ask for the money and then identify?
So on the water side, we've already identified it pretty much. And that's the one I think we have the most, the best shot on. I'm not sure about a sewer one at this point, but you have additional sewer needs for I&I, so we'll try it.
Well, we could identify the manholes that need, I have I&I issues with the brick ones. We know what it just cost us to get that one line.
So we don't have to know which specific manholes, but we need to know in general, are there 12 or there 30?
So is that something that our guys can go through town and get a count?
But they can, or you can say, okay, we've got 300 manholes and we want to do 15% or 20% or whatever. We can price that out and see what it looks like.
I know there's plenty out there that need it, so if we could start that process, it should help I&I issues drastically. Any more discussion from the board, questions? So I have a first to adopt the resolution. Can I see that again?
That I would have loved to have gotten a copy of that.
Yes, sir.
She's got it down.
Smart.
Sorry.
So once there's sewer and the other would be for a water project.
All right, I have a first and I have a second.
I'm sorry, I was looking down. Who did the second?
And I saw a couple of mistakes on that, so I'm gonna send you a clean copy that you can sign tomorrow.
We'll get it back to you. All in favor? Just another second.
It might be more than a little time, because I'm a slow reader. Read it off. All right.
So much shot again yesterday saying, why do we
Yes.
So motion passes 4-0.
Before we go any further, do we need to go back and do anything on the, left everything out there sewer project?
No, because I think what you want to do is gonna exceed the amount of money you have available, so you're just, what we're gonna do is get all those items approved, and then you can spend until you run out of money.
Meantime, we'll be rearranging our list until we find out more. Thank you, next one.
Thank you.
And do anything else for you, or tell you anything else?
I think that's it.
Right? Okay,
Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
Have a good night. All right, next up is the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. Everybody should have a copy of that in their book. I hope they've had time to look through it. Any questions on this plan?
But I think overall, that what is in here, that is feasible, is doable, some sooner than others. One of the things I do think is that that the town would have a need to probably go after some additional funding to place sidewalks along Post Palms Road, because even if we were able to put together this document as is, Post Pond Road from 3rd Street to the park it's almost unwalkable on foot. When I last campaigned for this seat, that I went from house to house down there, and I was afraid the whole time because you have to move fast, and that I still got speed, but I worried. And so that I'm thinking that one of the things that we're going to have to think about is, first of all, the sidewalk. And even if we do not implement this in a very quick way, that we really need to think about doing that anyway, because, and actually that I think that we probably can go to the DOT and tell DOT, say, look, we need for y'all to find some funding, because this is a hazard.
Well, we are actually working with DOT on a grant right now that should be back to us anytime, in which we've asked for a tremendous amount of sidewalk system to be installed. And that is not just on DOT streets, it's also on town streets. And so we were looking to connect the two schools. Now, the route about which you're taking, and I campaign too in the same area, and yes, you do have to move fast because there's some deep ditches and nowhere to go. But those houses sit very close to the road there, so I don't know if there is room to get it in there as is, but it would be a very nice area to have it. The other problem you have is the speed limit with a DOT street, and I'm not sure of all the rules, but I do know if it doesn't have a curb, the speed limit's got to be reduced so much, or you got to be so far off the pavement with that sidewalk, so it might put those sidewalks into some of those houses. But we are working with that, and the first step is to see what we can get. And we did submit a plan to the town. It did not have any sidewalks on Holt's Pond at that end at the third.
It went from the elementary up Holt's Pond to New Ballpark, down to their center, or third.
It was
Probably center.
Pine, it was Pine Street.
Pine Street. So we did submit that in the plan from the elementary to New Ballpark to Pine to the high school.
So we are hoping that those funds will come through, because it was a substantial amount. Of course, I think they determined how it's digged up, and ever how many towns applied. It was for, if I remember correctly, it was for towns under 5,000 population. So we jumped on it.
That is one of the biggest concerns most people around here have, is the walkability of the town. But the biggest problem the town has with putting sidewalks in is when the town was built so many years ago, it wasn't a consideration. And you go asphalt to ditch, and then you're in somebody's yard. So there's just gonna be a lot of streets in town. The only way you're gonna put sidewalks on, you're gonna have to tile the ditches and put sidewalks over the top of the tile. And it's gonna be a very costly project to do it.
And it'll be done in phases, I'm sure, but we'll try to grab every piece that we can. And that is one of the things that was mentioned here is walkability of the town, having it where you can get out and walk this town. And a lot of people do, but they're walking in the roads, and that's not safe. So we've tried to work on crosswalks and stuff through town so people know where they're supposed to be. Plus, that also helps protect them from crossing in a crosswalk. But yes, that is part of what we're looking at doing. The trails and pathways and paved and accessible spaces was number one on the list of facilities needs from the community. I found it very interesting on page 34 and 35, just to see where they proposed to put stuff. You know, we had enough room. So on the bottom of 34, you have the Flores Park, and they do have a pickleball court installed there at the front. They also have a splash pad installed, upgrading the playground equipment in both the little kids and the bigger kids, and also providing some shade and other things like that. So I thought that was in a paved walking trail. And a fair amount of people do walk that trail. Also at the community center, they had a butterfly garden on the library side, which I thought was a nice addition. They had some trees, and then some shade for the concert area, along with the community art landscape at the front corner. So I think there's a second round to come there if we can find the funding. And we're working on that now. Any other questions or?
I have a question as much as just, it was reassuring to read this and know that a lot of this we have already been actively working towards, or already have in place, just to validate that we're doing the right things.
Yeah, and now we can kind of see how to place it, where to take it. Kind of gives us the roadmap, like that capital improvement plan does. This also gives us a direction.
They just want to help us score with park and recreation grants, help us score better.
All right, any further discussion?
So what is the next step?
So I'd like to adopt this tonight.
Okay.
And then we got a part of plan grant that is due in June.
May 3rd.
Yeah.
When are we expecting to see the final, you know, how we're rolling over a grant? We talked about, what, 2 meetings ago for Parks and Rec, and we have so much that we're gonna then try to double that and double that. When does that end?
So that was on our CIP, and it showed about 2 years out, because we would
2
apply
years.
for parted, and then that would, the award would go out late fall, then we would apply for LWCF in the spring of next year, probably go out late summer, early fall, so it may be 28
Okay.
or so before we actually get double or triple our money.
So we're gonna try to
Yeah.
hang on to those dollars, and we're still accumulating some, and that will just help take that grant a little bit further. But this is the tool to get us there.
Are you asking Commissioner Martin, how are we going to ensure, what are we putting forth a plan for ourselves to hold us accountable for implementing these? I know it says immediate need, 0 to 2, near 3 to 5, but you saying apart from just that we need to approve or adopt this, that, because that was kind of my question too, is, all right, determine if there's a community support for a park advisory committee. I mean, when do we do that? When do we take it upon ourselves to establish that? I mean, I know it says 0 to 2 years, but do we need to give ourselves?
Well, we do have a park and planning committee on our ordinances, do we not?
We do, we just
And-
don't have an established board per
We
se.
don't have a board for it.
It's been the board of commissioners acting as a.
But it might be time to bring that into play. And, I mean, that's something that this board wants to move forward. We can certainly bring that forward and start some meetings with those. But it does say in our ordinances that we do have a board for that, or we're supposed to have a board for that. We haven't had any funding in the past to do anything with, so we've got a funding means now, and so now's the time to try to bring all this up together.
And that would be my hope, that if we do bring forth a board, that there is actually something that they can plan for that is going to come into existence pretty soon, and instead of them planning for a year or two and nothing happens.
Well, this pretty much guides the town to what people are asking for. So, I don't know what our board could do at this point, but it is a guide to where we want to head. We have a list of priorities. Of course, we're looking for grants or whatever we can find money-wise, and as we find those, we plug those in. So if DOT comes forth with sidewalks money, we plug a piece of that in. Part of grant comes forward, then that'll be a big piece of money that we can plug into refurbishing a park. And I think our first priority, or major priority, is to refurbish Floyd Park. It is old, it's dated, it needs to be cleaned up. And I think that's the first thing we need to get taken care of.
Once we max out our funding.
That's right, just as soon as so we can do something substantial, because it's gonna take a substantial amount of money to do that.
Because and Floyd's Park does get a substantial amount of visitors daily. That's not like that the park is just sitting there, because you can see a lot of people out there taking advantage of the park all day long, starting early in the morning.
Okay, any more discussion? Just need a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we adopt this before this master plan.
Second.
First and second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4-0.
Can I ask something before we move to the next item that I don't know if I'm able to at this point? I should have maybe thought about it a few items ago. But I am wondering if our library friends who are here for the library presentation, are we able, I don't want them to have to sit here all night since I think we've got some lengthy conversation that's already occurred and possibly to continue. Is it possible to move them up? I don't. Oh, well, that's what I said. Is it too late or?
We've already done it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I didn't think about it. Okay.
All right. But we did take 3 things off, so.
Yes.
All right, next up is the budget meeting, and talk a little bit about what we're going to do here for this year. And what we're looking for is to give some direction to the town administrator exactly where to go to take the budget. I have talked to all of y'all over the last couple of weeks a little bit and kind of got a feel for what you were looking for. We do have a leaf machine, a police car, public works truck, cost of living raises, and I think we've discussed the backhoe work, so just kind of need to ease through these items here if we can get this decided, and then we can move forward with a document and then come back and see where we're at with everything. So that's really the major decisions. I think everybody on this board is very adamant about trying to keep taxes as low as possible, and we can't let the town suffer, but we don't. We need to try to make be as efficient as possible, I guess is the best way I can say it. So, with that being said, if it's okay, we'll just talk about the leaf machine to start with. Does anyone have a problem with looking at purchasing a leaf machine? Okay. Everybody's in agreement with that. The one that was sent out had a big cage trailer, which unloading would be a little laborsome, I guess, for lack of a better word. We do have a dump truck that we can blow those leaves into with a top. And in discussion last week with Brian and Wesley, we just talked about getting a machine that would blow directly into that truck. Is the board okay with that? All right.
The only thing that I wasn't okay with was how that we would finance the lease machine, because it, from what I saw on paper, seemed to be different than what our conversation actually was. And yes, we do need the leaf machine, but I think that it should be a capital area for the street department, and that it be purchased that way, instead of the way that was mentioned in the documents.
So you'd rather finance it than pay cash for it?
Right. Through the,
Because we've got about $75,000 in our sweep account that we can use for anything. We can pay cash for that, pay cash for the PD vehicle, and be debt free.
but, and as my opinion, that whichever category that the item belongs to, such as this, the leaf machine is for the street department, that should be a capital purchase for that department and instead of using other money.
So, I was under the same thoughts when we talked on that day, and that money is just interest that has been made off of the general fund account. So if it's still a capital expenditure and it goes to that department, I guess the question is, are we okay with it being paid for with that cash? I'm not real keen on financing it. But if we have to, we have to. But it all depends on where this board wants to go with it. I don't know what the cost of that piece of equipment is. I know that the trailer was about $10,000 or $11,000, so I would think it's going to be somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000. That's just a rough guess.
What would be the pros and the cons for financing?
Well, you keep your money and earn interest, but your finance rate's going to be more than your interest that you make. And so,
I guess when I was, trying to get Mr. Martin's logic of
You
process.
just wanted to keep it, I'm thinking, just keeping it clean within it's being, what it's for being
Right.
pertaining to the department, which it's.
So streets and sanitation, PD, all that is under the general fund, regardless if it's street sanitation department or what, it's all general fund, even though it's broken out separately. So we can use the sweep account interest to pay for cash, or if you wanted to do it as a capital
And-
purchase, you could do that in finance. But regardless, it's general fund cash.
I don't want to finance anything we don't have to.
Was there any other thought of how to use that money? Or is this, this is just.
well, I was hoping that we could take it and put it into paving, or, something where we could multiply it, like this part of the grant. I mean, we got funds going there, so we probably need to spend it somewhere else, but just trying to find something where it could be,
Sure.
multiplied and give us a bigger bang for the buck. But, if this is it, you do save the interest if you don't finance it. This is, money that we've made just by changing accounts. So, which is a great problem to have. So we just need to figure out if it's okay to come out of that account. This will keep taxes down if that's what the ultimate goal is, or we can put it into to where it goes and, and finance it, but that would also make taxes go up.
If we finance it, that would make the taxes go up.
Well, if we don't use this money, we're going to probably have to finance, depending on the cost of the machine. I mean, in reality, it's all coming out of the same account. I mean, if you just got some interest that's made over here, it would just, it's not like we're taking water sewer funds and buying for the general fund. You can't do that, but we're in the general fund. It's money that the general fund has made. So it's extra money sitting there that we can take, and we have verified with the auditor that we can take that money to purchase these things. In my thinking, when I talked to you, I was thinking that was a water sewer. I wasn't thinking that it was, an overhead type situation. And so, with that being said, the police car and the leaf machine could come out of those funds.
And so, in years past, the policy of the board has been that each department of the town that is a generator of funds, because obviously that police department is never a generator of funds, but that's been our custom and policy that if it's water and sewer, that instead of us rating the general fund, that we brought forth the fees necessary to purchase that item. And so you will not always just dependent on getting everything from the general fund, because we never know what will come our way and what that general fund will actually have to pay for. Because we could have something, we could have a tornado, we could have a tropical storm, a hurricane. We can have a very serious criminal matter that could actually cost the town thousands and thousands of dollars, and our ability to have that general fund at a higher mark, that is our way of making sure that the town does not go broke. So I mean so the general fund is not just there for us to grab and snatch. That we need to keep the general fund as high as possible, because we do not know what emergency may come. And I'll use this as another example. Several years ago, that we incorrectly we purchased water, and we calculated that we will make X amount of dollars in our selling of the water back to the citizens, but we miscalculated, and so what happened was that we had to take thousands out of the general fund, because our ability to go in and change the taxes had already gone. So we depended on the general fund to pay for that, which was a tremendous amount of money, and we had to end up going up on fees during the middle of the year. So I would urge the board to not treat the general fund as the bank account that can fund all, because it has to be available for emergency.
Well, if I remember correctly, in the last two audits, and I'm not 100% on this, but I believe the year before last, we were 37% contingency, and we were 34% this past year. So that was a decrease of 3 cents, 3%.
But still was a lot stronger than it had been in years and years prior.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And we were actually, I think, slingshotted into that from was it the ARPA funds?
Yes.
That helped slingshot us into that position, where we had set many a year at, wanted to be right around the 8, well, we didn't want to be, but we were around the 8%. So we're in a good spot, but I don't want to let those dwindle either. I don't want to continue to dwindle those funds. So I hear what you're saying, and that's what this board needs to decide. And we can take that, those cars and leaf machine and finance it if that's what the board chooses. That will be money that will need to be paid out depending on how many years we do it, but it wouldn't all be the once, it'd be distributed over 5 years or 4 years or whatever we
I'll
choose.
give you a quick breakdown on the public works truck. You're looking at about $41,000 at 5.5%, 3 years. You're looking at paying about $5,600 back in interest over 3 years. PD car is about 60 grand. You're looking at financing it for 3 years. You're probably looking at paying back probably around $8,000 to $9,000 over 3 years. So those two together, you're looking at about $15,000 in interest you'd be paying back in 3 years. That's your leaf machine.
That you would
That you
lose.
pay, that you could pay cash.
You got your money, but you would lose. Now, the question is 34% enough to carry us those years? Because in essence, what he's saying, we're not spending the money we had, we're spending the money, some of the money we made. So,
And we invested this money September of 2024 into KS Bank, and since then, we've earned about $75,000 off of it.
Your position was like mine initially, was that, oh, this needs to come out of its respective, you know, where it needs to go. But I get now that we could just, how would you say, denote that when we are making these purchases and where they need to be shown. And I'm okay with using the money that we have rather than taking out. And I hope that our contingency covers us until the federal government would fund us for repairs from a tornado or other catastrophic event.
Well, if this money would go into the general fund anyway, if all these line items are
So-
under the general fund,
Yeah.
could we just take X amount of dollars and put it into that line item and then take it
Yeah,
out?
so what we would do is basically, if you pay for the leaf machine cash, we would basically budget whatever the cost of it is, take the money out, deposit it in the general fund budget, pay for it cash, and it would clear itself out. Same with the vehicle.
so being it's a lot of account where it's supposed to
It would
be
go
and how we
into
bought
the
it.
streets line item, but
Right.
it would be general fund. Yeah, it's gonna be paid regardless.
And with $75,000 that we would be putting in there, we would still not be depleting our general fund past the 34%,
No.
because that's money we've earned.
Mm-mm.
So basically, you.
And so would not the amount of money that we put in, the bank, would that earn more than, what the interest payment would be?
No, sir.
No.
We're probably earning 2.5% on a money market account in KS Bank, and it's gonna be 6%. What'd you get? Ricky?
5.5.
5.5%.
For vehicles.
Well, truck now, that's for, what, 3 years?
Both of them were 3 years.
So it's a little bit of difference, but now we would be, go ahead.
Maybe you won't understanding what I'm asking. So we put money in KS Bank, X amount of dollars, and that X amount of dollars has garnered us $76,000.
Roughly 70.
So if we take some of that money out of KS, wouldn't the money, if we left it in KS, wouldn't we gain more interest from leaving that money there rather than what the interest would be to finance it?
Finance is almost double of
Okay.
what we're earning.
So then we're just spending off of the interest.
Right, that's the same
So
thing.
if you took the 75,000 out, you would start earning again tomorrow, but you're looking at paying double interest for 3 years on 2 vehicles, which is about $15,000 total.
All right, that being said, just hold those thoughts. Everybody should have a sheet that shows the cars and trucks that town has. That was left on the desk for you.
Is it this one?
It is.
Okay.
So that's what the rolling stock is that the town has in the year and the mileage. And so I guess we need to decide if we want to put a car or look at putting a car. I guess this is all a hypothetical right now, that we're trying to give some guidance. If we want to look at buying a police car, and if you look at the PD, you see all the different models we have, right down to the Gator. So the one with the highest mileage is the 2013 Equinox, but it's not being driven a lot.
That's a vehicle at elementary school.
Where is the Durango? I don't see the Durango column. That number's not right.
Which one?
The Durango. Where's that?
I'll get right on it.
It's 158,000 if I'm not mistaken.
That's the new Durango. We're missing,
Yeah,
We're
oh,
missing
yeah, that's
the old
right.
one.
missing the 2015 Durango. Yeah.
Chief, can you help us out with
It's
that?
like 140,000 on it. Yeah, on the 2015.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you lost an air conditioning the other day and you got a leak on the windshield. Is that correct?
I'm not running
And what year was it?
2015.
15,
And how many miles?
142.
Now, if we purchased a new vehicle, would that be the one it replaced? And I guess that's what we would decide. And would it go to the same officer, or would that be brought up into circulation up here at town hall where the traffic officers are using it?
I'll certainly let it up here.
And take one of the older cars to the, is that the high school that has this?
The oldest one?
Yeah, the Durango, the oldest one.
Yes.
Have any idea what we spent on this vehicle?
On
In
the
the last year?
15 Durango.
Yes.
Not much on the 15 Durango. I don't think we had any issues with it last year. I don't think, other than just servicing.
Was the 2015 the one that we had something done to the air conditioning?
That was a Tahoe. It was under warranty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a Tahoe.
I don't know much about the Durango. I have no problem with it. I do know we've got a Charger that's running around here that sounds like a ticking time bomb. Because he come through my neighborhood the other day and you hear tick, 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 tick all the way through there.
That's probably the 17.
What shift was it?
Yeah.
What shift was it? It was daytime, so.
I'm at work.
What's that?
I don't know. I mean, it's not getting many miles at the high school, I would think. They drive their car home, right? So, I mean, the board can make a decision not to do anything at this time, or we can look at replacing them. If we don't, we know that it might be next year, might be the time.
What are the items that you said in the beginning that we were emailed about the vehicle? What were the things that we said we're talking about specifically for the 73,000? The items.
PD vehicle,
The
buffer
PD vehicle.
truck, leaf machine.
Let me ask you a question. And I'm just asking, if we decided that we didn't do anything with any of the vehicles, would that open up a door that we could possibly look at our office? I'm just throwing something out.
Looking at what?
Looking at officer.
If we didn't get a vehicle this year, would that open up a door that maybe we could look at getting an officer?
No, without raising taxes.
I mean, you're talking.
Because that's a reoccurring cost every year. That's not
Talking
one and done.
officer, total package, 85,000 annually. With the insurance benefits, retirement.
Now, I saw in here somewhere,
I think we do need to get a vehicle, in my opinion, so we can keep them on the rotation. Get it, it's under warranty for 3 to 5 years. It's going to be maintained. It's the Charger. I know we've had trouble with them. Both or all Chargers actually have had trouble with them. The Durango, like I said, it's not a patrol car per se, but I don't remember anything major being repaired on it. It's always been pretty well kept. It's just how miles. And this was Chief Sutton's vehicle. You gotta remember, he had it for 6 or 7 years. He put 60 miles a day just from here to work, or here home, travel.
60. Was it 60?
It's 60, I mean, right, that's our policy, anything under 30, I think he was 29 miles, so you talking 58 miles a day was highway miles for 6, 7 years. And we do have some quotes on some PD vehicles. We've got, Chief, you may want to come up and explain these vehicles a little bit. The Ford Explorer Interceptor, that's the one the Highway Patrol is using now. We got a state quote on it of $46,000. We'll just look at that. Then we've got a Tahoe quote of $57,000. A pickup truck of $47,000. And another Mustang, which I would not recommend, of $43,000. So of those, I think Chief was looking at the Ford Interceptor, which is what the Highway Patrol's going to do now.
The only comment I've got is I wish we could pick one vehicle and try to start keeping the same
I
thing.
agree.
'Cause
We
We look
talked,
like
we
a
had
box of
discussion.
crayons with our police cars. I mean, there's everything in the world.
And we can do that. We can do that. I think we got a good direction. Do we want to stay with Chevrolet or Ford or which particular one?
Well,
Tahoes are nice, but they are expensive, a lot more expensive. They
I
have more
would buy the
value.
Ford Explorer, but I mean,
well, I think that what happened was, going back, was that there wasn't always a light vehicle that was available, because we had several years that some of these vehicles were not available.
well, I think with the way we're trying to rotate them now, if we can stay ahead of the curve there, we should be able to order them and get them here.
If you order them soon enough.
Yeah, not be behind.
Yeah.
I'm just biased. I like the Interceptor. I looked at, like I say, working with the DMV and being able to see those vehicles up close, and I think that's a nice car. That's a nice vehicle.
Chief, how do you feel about that? Is that what you want, is the Ford Interceptor, if you had a choice out of these?
Yes, sir.
So we figure total package would be about 60. That's outfitting the vehicle, radio, lighting.
So it's 48 and then another 12 to outfit. Would this be the ongoing choice?
Yes, sir.
I'm hearing.
So now, and let me ask this, because it was asked a few minutes ago. So, is the board adamant that we are not going to consider adding officers?
only thing I'm gonna say on that is, I'm not just talking about police officers in general, I'm talking about across the board. I don't want to raise taxes for nothing, and not even roll the toilet paper. I mean, if it's gonna cause taxes to go up, I don't want to see it.
Do you want to have 24/7 coverage or not?
What's our crime rate?
The question is, do you want to have 24/7 coverage or not?
I'm gonna be a stick in the mud in this one. I'm gonna say, if it requires us not having 24-hour coverage, and we got to raise $80,000 and make everybody's taxes go up 2 pennies, then I'd rather not have 24-hour coverage.
Well, that's not 2 pennies, $80,000 would be.
Well, I'm just throwing that out there. It's gonna be more than that, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not in favor of raising taxes this year, 1 penny. You're going to have to show me it's a need that we gotta have it, or I'm not going to go with it. We're taxed to death already.
Well, I will say this, that taxes are high. All I know is that in the past, we have had 24/7 coverage for years. And so my question would be, are you willing to go backwards instead of forward? I know what it's like to not have 24/7 coverage, and I've seen it necessary where that we needed the police whenever we were short of officers, and there was nobody to respond. And the question has to be asked, if you need a policeman and there's nobody to call, what are you going to do?
Well,
in the year 2026.
Well, one thing I can say about that is when I got on this board 4 years ago, we didn't have half the police officers we have right now. We were on a skeleton crew, and we managed to figure it out. We have 24-hour coverage now, and I understand that it's creating a problem. I get it. It's creating, comp time. We need to figure out a way to pay out comp time, something, but I cannot see just keep adding taxes. I can't see it. I mean, every month I make my house payment, I get nauseous when I see how much it's going to cost me to live in my house when it's paid for. I mean, what we're going to do, we're going to push the elderly people that are on fixed income, we're going to push them out of this town, because when my house is paid for, it's going to cost me $600 a month to live in it when it's paid for. There's people out here that their fixed incomes aren't much more than that, and how are they going to pay it? We can keep saying, I won't, all you want to. But it's what do you really have to have? If we don't have police coverage, the county will cover. It's just like the fire department. If we don't have 24-hour coverage now, except with volunteers. If we have a fire breakout, we got Rogden coming, we got Pine Level coming, we've got people coming. There's help on the way somewhere. Is it ideal? Is it perfect? No. But in a perfect world, if you want to say, okay, well, we want 24-hour coverage with the police department, well, I can tell you right now, there's one building right over here next door that wants 24-hour coverage with the fire service. And when they do, it's going to jack the tax rate up so high we can't breathe. So how can we say one yes and one no?
officer is about $78,000 with benefits. You're looking at about 4.5 cents.
On top of what it went up last year. Even though we cut our rate back, but because of tax assessments, it went up significantly.
That was one thing that we did say last year, that, once we raised, that we were gonna try to stay as neutral as
So
possible.
we're not gonna raise taxes this year.
And looking at it from that aspect of it, you know, I don't, you know, I'll stand by myself if I got to, but, I'm not for raising taxes.
Well, I'm comfortable raising taxes.
But if that,
But I would like 24/7 coverage.
I would love it too, but if it's gonna be a point that we end up having to raise taxes, and that's not gonna be a good look on us.
Well, I can tell you this right now, the highway patrol don't have 24-hour coverage.
Even though we just.
They have gaps in theirs every day.
We did the minimum, last year, right before election. We did the bare minimum that we could. But we also said that once we did that, we were gonna try to go the next couple of years without raising taxes for anything. That's what this board said. So we may need to look at it, that's something different doing. But as far as trying to raise, we're gonna have to raise taxes at least a little bit. They done took the penny out of circulation, so if they gonna raise it a whole little, I just can't do it. My wife, I'll tell you like this, my wife will kill me.
For taxes raised, yeah.
But if she gets out, you couldn't live with me, I need more income.
I eat a whole lot.
Anyone else want to weigh in on that?
Chief, do you have anything that you want to say?
Don't seem like it'll do any good, so, no, sir.
And trust me, Chief, it's not that I don't want to. It's not that anybody up here doesn't want to. It's a simple fact. We don't, everybody keeps saying we need to prepare for growth, prepare for it. They're 1,000% correct. We do need to have a plan for it. But we can't keep going up on taxes, penalizing the people that are here now for what we're anticipating 5 years from now. That's just like subdivision that they're talking about building out here by the school. It's hit a brick wall right now. It's not moving. That was 90-some homes. Everybody's like, oh, they're coming. You gotta get ready. It's not moving. Okay. We've got other subdivisions right here that are just not moving. And we can want all we want to, but if we bring it in here now, because now, the people here now have to pay for it. And I'm daggone, I paid enough.
Rooftops would be great.
Rooftops will help, commercial will help much worse. We need some commercial businesses here.
Chief, could you elaborate, come up and tell us, are we doing everything we can to have 24-hour coverage, 24/7?
There's no way we can do it with the manpower we have. When you get those overtime, comp time on whatever you want to, you only have certain officers that want to work that. I don't want to work it. I'd rather be home with my family, like the majority of the officers. Yes, you can rely on the sheriff's office, but you're not going to get the same customer service as you are with the local police department. They are going to come and answer calls. We spoke about the incident before I took over. I don't know what else to say about it.
When was the last time we did have 24/7 coverage?
2 weekends ago.
For how long of a period?
10 hours, 9 hours. Didn't have coverage.
About half a shift or so.
Daytime or night?
Would have been during the daytime, but the night guy worked mid shift.
What is different than when we used to have it? I mean, we've got I heard you say we didn't have officers, that was before me.
Well, and it was right when Chief Smiley came in.
I know we were
We
struggling to
had,
hire
we had a bad recruitment issues prior to him being here, that we just could not get officers. They wouldn't even apply. You couldn't get them. And then when Chief Smiley took over, that seemed to correct itself, and we've been pretty much fully staffed since then. Before it was helter-skelter. I mean, you just didn't have it.
So did we used to have 24/7 coverage?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so what is different? We've got a full crowd, we've got a full set of officers. Why can't we have 24/7 coverage?
I mean, they're scheduled to work the shifts. I'm guessing if they call out sick at the last minute or unplanned event or something like that, it's hard to
So it's a human element
to get
it.
somebody
It's
to
not-
come in and cover at the last minute.
One of the officers the other weekend, his wife had surgery, and there was some complications. And so I worked for him on Friday. And Friday evening, he called and said there was some complications, he needed to stay home with his wife. It was, the part-timers we had already had plans made, they didn't want to break their plans. I had plans, and so I couldn't get anybody to work for him over the weekend. And so I think he actually did come out and work Saturday, but on Sunday, he was not going to be able to work on Sunday. And so the night guy went home at about 3 o'clock at night and then turned around and come back out at about 3. And then whenever Tool come to work, he'd come out earlier in the morning than he usually would.
When was the time before that? Is there another one recently?
We had,
It's been a while.
yeah,
It's
about a
probably
month or so before that, somebody had called out.
So it's basically occurring when we have an emergency, somebody has an emergency, one of the officers does.
Yes.
Can you have one on call that, to put on call, so to speak?
You had to pay a lot of on call. So for them to sit home and not be able to do nothing, you have to pay them.
The availability of part-time officers, they are not as available as they were. Even the larger cities. I was down in Smithfield at my old department a couple of weeks ago, and they have problems. After officers work so much that they get tired of coming back to work. And so what we have in years past, we were able to use officers from Pine Level and whatnot. A lot of those officers are no longer available because they're working in their own cities where they will have the coverage that they need. And the issue with not having 24-hour coverage is which part of the day or night are you not going to have that coverage? That I'm sure that one of the major incidents that we had that it occurred whenever one of the was one where that we did not have an officer available here, and I'm sure that citizens will ask this question. So we say that we can do a recreational center, that we can do a park, but we can't have 24/7 coverage. That I'm pretty sure that I've got it settled in my mind that if I had my choice of one or the other, that I'm pretty sure I know which one that I'd choose. The safety of my family. You don't want it so that people have to fend for themselves, because whenever they do, they might make a terrible mistake.
Well, let me ask you this question. Is there any other funding that we could look at that could help us in that area that?
Cutting the PD budget
Cut their budget?
Cut the PD budget.
to some of the budget, to budget for an officer. Or, I mean, you can cut some of the general fund budget, but I mean, I don't know what you would cut.
Well, it sounds like to me, we have life that happens here or there. And it's not the first time that it's not had 24/7. There is a change in the worth ethic of our generation coming up. And, you know, when I was coming up, we worked our tails off. We worked every chance we got. And you never, if you were needed, you come in. And today's generation doesn't look at it that way. And so we're dealing with a little bit different human side. But the times we haven't been covered, from what I'm hearing, sounds like there are emergencies that happen. We do have the sheriff's department we can lean on. And when this happens, do you notify Sheriff Bizzle or his next of in charge?
She did. Or the captain, she did.
But now one of the things that we have to look at when we're talking about the sheriff's office, and this is how the sheriff's office has been for years, they don't always have people to see them, because some of the time that our officer answer calls for them.
You gotta also remember too that we don't always have people to see them, because we're working multiple calls sometimes.
Right.
And so if they're at the school working and he's over here on an accident and there's another accident or something else happens, you know, we still gotta call the sheriff's department. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I don't wanna drop public safety, but I think we've got backup that we lean on in emergencies. And we need to use that. And, I mean, if I need to ask Sheriff Bizzle, and I'll be glad to call him and talk to him about it, but, I mean, it's been a couple of times that we've had, I would like to have 24/7 coverage all the time, but if you know, I need something and they're over here on a traffic accident, when am I gonna get them? When they finish with that? They're not gonna drop what they're doing to come to me, are they?
No.
And so who would come then? What happens? I wait?
You have to wait till we clear for that.
So you would clear what you got, and then I get the person. Is the sheriff's department asked to respond to me?
Only if we ask them
Okay. So, I mean, just because we got one officer on, don't mean we have 24-hour coverage. Yes, we have 24-hour coverage, but if 10 things happen in town, then we don't have what we need. And then we're not going to always, I mean, just if you exaggerate that, I mean, if a hurricane comes to town and you've got multiple calls, then everybody's doing everything they can. That's when rescue comes in and does what they can do, and you just tackle, you know, you take the list and you go tackle it. And I think we've just got to work through this as part of growing pains.
One option would be we could apply for a COPS grant like we did when we hired Tool. And that's paid out over 3 years.
I think that's a great idea.
A percentage, and then eventually the fourth year the town takes it over.
Any of those available?
We did apply for one years ago. It got turned down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to keep asking, because if we don't ask, we
Too
can
small
get.
that they wanted to get the money to Bridge Park because their budgets have been cut.
Well, I get everybody's been struggling. I mean, COVID threw us into a tailspin, and we as a town have struggled through it. I've not been here for all of that, but we've all struggled this process, and we struggle with it in our daily lives too, in our own businesses. So, you know, things are starting to settle out, the dust is starting to clear, but we've got to work through it, and we've got to look for ways to be, to create new ideas and try to come up. I mean, I've got no problem with looking at a COPS grant, but you know, we do have to apply for it if we're going to get one. We got to try to go after that.
And now you have to understand, first of all, with COPS grant, they will pay for like, some, the first year, some, they'll go with 2, but once they get past that second or third year, that the full amount
I think it's
comes.
80, 50, and 10,
Yeah.
the way they break it out over 3 years.
And that timing might be critical. I mean, you know, we're looking at houses, rooftops coming. So as rooftops are added, your load is going to increase. There's more people in town, so forth. So we need to kind of look at the timing of when that stuff is coming and when to try to grab one of these grants. And, but, you know, do we want 24/7 coverage? Yes. Are we going to be able to supply it all the time? I don't know. Depends on who gets sick and their emergencies, in my opinion. And if we have to, we need to lean on the sheriff for help. I mean, they cover the county, and I know if they're busy, I mean, we could fall low on totem pole. I know Micro don't even have a police department right now. They're leaning totally on the sheriff.
Micro's paying it too.
Are they paying? Well, just need to look at our options, I guess, and figure it out.
But I would like to look at the options and figure it out before the budget season closes, because we need an answer, one way or another.
An answer to hire a cop, a policeman or not?
Right.
I can put that in a budget and send it out this week, if everybody wants to look at it.
Is one policeman gonna solve that problem when you don't, a person calls in sick and everybody's busy? I mean, is it gonna solve the problem for 24/7? I mean, because it sounds like to me it's a convenience problem.
Well, and I'm not in that line of business, so from my understanding, you're looking at mid-shift officer, correct?
I would love 2 mid-shift officers.
But I'm just saying, if you got one, if you ended up with 1 mid-shift, let's just say, hypothetically, it comes in at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and works 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's not what we
Well-
do with one officer though.
Do what?
That's not what we do with one officer. Because it wouldn't be fair to the other rotation. We would have them working day shift in Tool's position, and Tool would be the fill-in man. Somebody call that, move people around.
But that's what I was trying to figure out, so, but if you have one person, if somebody was out sick, somebody did something, you would still have a partial shift there, and we would not have 24.
Depending on how they call it out. Or we could take the guy that was working the next night, have him come in the previous, when the guy's sick, and then Tool could fill in on the other day. Have a better chance of keeping the 24/7 coverage than what we have now.
And part of the problem has to be that it's not always an emergency. Some of the time, people want to take vacation. And so some of this overtime is coming from that, and there's really no way of getting around that, because you don't want officers that feel like that they can't take a vacation if they need to take a vacation. Whenever it gets to that, because you see officers moving off, and it still is environment where officers are hard to find. And, we've got some officers that have shown dedication to Princeton, and, we want to try to, do what we can to, keep those officers there, and we, but I still go back to the point that citizens expect 24/7 coverage. And this board can put its head in the sand and keep saying no, but I'm telling you that citizens want 24/7 coverage. That's what the citizens want. And so the board has to make up its mind to do what the citizens have asked you to do, give them 24/7 coverage.
Are we able to see a budget example that has an officer in it to show what that would look like?
This week, not
No, I know that. Oh, yeah, just because all I know is if I'm ever pushing for a position on something, I hope to God Walter Martin is on my side and advocating for me, because you are speaking good for your people, and so I appreciate that. And I think for the sake of this topic, we need to just see what that would look like.
Could we
so
get-
that we can just understand.
Could we get the current shift that you're working now, how everybody's working, how it's set up, and then what a new officer would do for you?
You know, wait till next week?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to burn up comp time right now.
And I assume that some comp time would disappear with a new officer.
Yes, some of it, you still gonna gain comp time.
I understand.
No matter how many officers you have, you still got to do training and stuff like that.
Because that's why we're not able to really use the SRO, because of their training time.
So, well, whenever we go to training, they have to do training too. Like firearms training, we got to do that once a year. They've got to go through the same training we do. The in-service training, luckily, we're able to do all that online now. And so we're not having to go sit in classrooms. And so
I'm saying, like, whenever school is closed,
they do work some. I don't make them come in and work nights and stuff like that. Those SRO positions were hard to fill, and they were offered to everybody up here before we went out and found the SROs. And so I don't want them to spend their summers working night shifts all summer. And so try to let them work day shifts. And then they have their training they have to do for their SRO certifications they do in the summertime.
Are we going to need an additional car if we have another officer?
No, sir, we can get by what we got.
When you say get by, are you saying,
We can get by what we got.
Does that include the, what are we calling it, the interceptor that we're talking about adding as what we've got?
We can get by what we currently have.
So you're saying then the vehicle would come off of the gas?
Absolutely.
I think for the purpose of this conversation piece right here, we just see what it looks like.
yeah?
We just see what it looks like, and we go from there. I don't think there's any other way to move on to the next thing until we just see what it looks like.
Well, that's the purpose of this exercise, is to get input, and then to put it on paper and see what it looks like. And so this is not a final decision, but it is
Yes,
a
yes.
stepping stone
Correct.
to looking at that topic. Thanks, Chief.
So one officer and no vehicle?
Correct. And whatever is needed with that officer. So uniforms, whatever has to gun, whatever's needed. Okay, so that answered the police car. The public works truck, we were going to look at,
That being being included with the
with
ask.
Mars, so that's dealt with. All right, let's talk about cost of living raises.
Why are you looking at me?
As if you had something to say.
He's already put all his chips out there. He's still,
What is the, I know what's being asked, what's being proposed, what is the, national cost of cost of,
isn't it about average about 3% typically? I think that's just what I've seen.
I think what I looked up the other day on the internet showed 2.8.
it's right at 3%.
So you know,
About 2.8 is what it's showing now.
So right at 3%.
Yeah, I know in our, this is always discussed in our managers meetings, and as we get close to budget, they talk about cost of living and everything. From what I can gather from all the towns in the county, it looks like most of them are discussing 5%.
How much did that raise our taxes?
None really, because I've got money in a budget of contingency right now. And I've got a budget done at 58.5 cents, which is what we currently sit at. And if you were to take the PD officer out, or add the PD officer, you could pull every bit of it out of the contingency, which is 82,000. And then you can still look around to see, because you got some of the budget, or some of the salaries are split between departments. Some employees aren't eligible for cost of living yet, so it would just be number crunching. But I can look at it this week and send something out.
what would the board like to look at as far as a percentage? What would you like? We can put it in 2 or 3 different budgets and show it.
I just need some guidance.
Why don't you just, come up with numbers for 3, 4, 5?
I could say 3 and 5, but short.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just do 3, 4, 5, and that's okay. And that way we got to step aside. So we look at cost of living at 3, 4, 5 with the PD officer and his equipment, no car. The only other thing I had, let's see here, was the public works supervisor. Where do we sit?
Right now, we have Brian filling in as the interim public works supervisor. We've got a couple, we've got one employee that we currently have that could potentially take over that role. I would recommend, if that was an option, they would take some leadership academy classes at UNC government. They got many years of experience in water and sewer. And I think they would be very interested in the position.
Our current pay range on that is
70 to 80.
I got, 70,016 to 81,286.
That's correct.
Does anyone have any comments on that?
And this would be for the public works supervisor?
It would be potentially an internal promotion, but I would not start them at that pay on that right there to start with. They would get an increase. They have some certifications now, but we'll need to continue to get some more certifications. One thing that we're looking is somebody that will step up and lead the department and direct them moving forward in the direction that we need.
Do they have supervisory experience?
I would say some, but not over a whole crew. But they do have many years of experience and are very knowledgeable of water and sewer. And it could be something that we offer them as a interim position, 6 to 12 months, and see how they get. The other option would be to lay off a position in public works and advertise for a public works supervisor, which is probably going to run the town $85,000 minimum with the credentials that we need.
So a promotion within would be cheaper.
In the long run, it would be cheaper, but it could be time consuming because the classes are only offered so many times a year and the certifications are required.
Is that the only training and leadership programs that you could put them through? That are not other?
That's the only one we usually use is UNC. I mean, there may be some other ones at other schools, but School of Government offers all kinds of educational leadership, supervising training, things like that.
And then we would need to fill the position of the person being moved up.
No.
No.
We still have six. We still have 6 employees. They would just move from their current position to the supervisor position.
So would that mean we would have to hire an extra person?
We still have 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I missed something.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we've got, you got an interim supervisor, and then you got 2 Tech 3s, 2 Tech 2s, and 1 Tech 1, or soon to be Tech 2. So you got, that's your 6 employees.
So how would this person, or how, with your, from what you've seen and what you've heard, how, without the management experience, how do they mesh with the
Very,
team they have?
very knowledgeable. They seem to get along and listen and learn. He just don't want hard feelings being, he hasn't been here for that long yet, months. But again, very knowledgeable.
So does that give you enough to start
Sure.
where you need to, and then you can get us
Does
some?
it?
So the other couple things I do want to mention is on the water and sewer side, we are looking at about a 10% increase in water rates due to Johnson County. I have in
10%?
proposal a 15% increase,
Okay.
15%.
15% on our side.
So is it 10 or 15%?
The county's 10%.
Oh, you were
So I
saying that?
proposed
Yeah.
15.
Oh, okay, all right.
Garbage
Okay.
collection is going up $2 a ton, which is about 93 cents. I've got garbage rates going up $1 to offset the garbage collection or tip fee. Leaves and limbs, we're good on that. We're actually under budget on leaves and limbs and everything. And then, what else was there? Sewer rates. I have not increased this, I did increase the sewer rates to match the water rates. And I can give an example on how that would impact someone that had 2,000 gallons a month per se. So if they're using, how much do you use per month, Mike?
We have to ask Bob Bob.
How much he uses per month? Okay. Well, let's just say 5,000 gallons. You're looking at $2.16 increase versus the 2,000 gallons of $1.38. That's for water. And then your sewer rate, you're looking at $2.19 versus $1.94. So your overall bill, you're looking, from what I can guess, based off of 5,000 gallons, anywhere between $6 to $8, $10 max a month. More. And these are not because we're just increasing the rates. These are water and sewer's going up because, again, we need repairs, maintenance. It's an enterprise fund. You need to collect that to repair. And the water rates are, we're putting off on the county.
I didn't even take it back.
But those figures I do have in the budget. And we don't have to do 15%. If we want to just match them at 10, you can just do 10% if you want to. I think we're really good on water and sewer, with our revenues on that. And if we went at 10%, I really think it would be fine still. But it's,
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, man, that's a pretty good sized bill for me. I mean, I don't know about nobody else.
well, I will say, it's an expense, and the garbage is an expense. Leaves and limbs are an expense as well, because it does take manpower, it takes fuel, it takes maintenance on the vehicle. We're driving 20-some miles to the landfill to dump it, 2 hours, a day, sometimes 3 or 4 times a week. And those expenses do add up.
Oh, yeah.
You want that water 24/7?
Oh,
too.
and one of the things that I was gonna ask you. So, our rates, were they set before the price of gas went up?
Or what rates?
Our rates were,
Oh, yeah, we put them in effect, July 1, but the county rates didn't go up till September, but we went ahead and implemented ours July 1 of last year, when they had their increases.
so now what I'm asking is that obviously the, gasoline rates have gone up, an additional $1.05, $1.10, I think. And it's my understanding that even if they stop the war, that the gas rates are not going to come down.
Yeah, the 10% increase from the water side was given to me less than 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
From the director of Public Works. I don't know if they factor in fuel or what on that.
So now, and like with the fuel costs for the street department, for the police, have we factored in the new price of gas?
I increased their fuel budgets about 3% in the next upcoming budget. I increased them up about 3%.
And is gas have gone up more than 3%, hasn't it?
About
It
25%.
had, but I will say that the water and sewer or public works has about 4 or 5 fuel budget lines for vehicles, and they haven't maxed any of them out yet.
Okay.
The garbage truck's probably the biggest one, and then just a routine Ranger, the F-150, very minimal on the backhoe, lawnmower season's coming into effect now and stuff like that. PDA increased his to patrol. I know we increased it last year, I can't remember the exact number, but I did increase it again. But it's something we can look at, and I base that off of the miles they drive a night. Chief and I discussed how many are they doing on a shift to kind of get an idea of what to expect.
Okay.
And that always, again, that's just a good guess, because we could budget and then July 1 gas shoot up to $10 a gallon.
I think we'll know more too before all this.
Yeah.
We got some
should.
time. We
But
got 30
all
days.
that's been factored in.
And I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to take a leave.
All right, we're gonna stop for a road.
Hey, Lee.
Yes, sir. All right, I'd like to call our meeting back to order.
Congratulations.
We need a motion to
Make a motion, we go, come out,
All right, have a motion. Got a second. All right, Commissioner Holmes, all in favor?
Yeah.
Motion passes 4-0. All right. Next on the agenda is our sewer allocation policy. This was emailed out to the board probably about 4 weeks ago, I would guess, and we read through it and had a little discussion online. It's pretty much the same as was presented then, correct?
Yes.
The only concern I have is under reserved capacity on page 1. It does say 12 months, and I do question if that can be done that quick. And you're talking about a substantial deposit that has to be put down, and that could be lost by a developer. I think you had that same concern.
Yeah, I made the point too, and I think it's a very tight timeline. And as we're seeing right now, we thought we'd be further along with some of these developments coming our way, and we're not, and that's just the nature of the time. And that's a major expense to push on a developer who's looking to bring positive growth to our community, to continuously charge them when development costs are strong enough. So that was my one thing, is I was not really in favor. There's 12 months is not realistic.
What do you think is a fair amount?
Let me go back to it, because this has been a couple weeks now that we've talked about this.
And I will say, I did discuss this with our engineers, and they had no issues with the 12 months.
Yeah,
Again, it's
they're engineers, but as you can see with our sewer plant, they haven't hit the deadline on it. And that's who we're relying on to give us the information that we need as a developer. So,
totally understand.
Yeah, so capacity may be temporarily reserved, so you're gonna reserve it upon preliminary approval, and it'll automatically lapse if no final plat or sewer extension agreement is completed within 12 months. It's just not realistic.
I'll say 18 to 24.
That's better.
Well, and now, if you were saying that 12 months is not realistic, then I might well split a hair with you, and if you go to page 2, where the reservation fee is down 25%, because I have an issue with it being that low. I would be willing to raise the months if we also raise the percentage of the estimated fee that they would pay.
To what?
To at least 50%.
I mean, isn't that effectively the same thing then? I mean, if they do 12 months at 25, but then if it lapses, they gotta do it again. 12 months at 25 again.
No, they will get either the 18 to 24, but the reservation fee would increase from a 25% deposit to a 50% deposit.
I think that's gonna be a deterrent to developers because it's non-refundable. And there are many projects that get presented on a preliminary level that do not see fruition. And you're talking about putting forward 50%. What kind of, I mean, how much, I mean, what?
It's $3,800 for sewer capacity times however many lots.
I mean,
And I figured it today, Cardinal Crest is 90 lots at 25% was, what did I say, $85,500 is what they would pay that they could potentially lose in 12 months.
But,
That's a lot cost.
hey, and it will be a lot of cost, a lot of loss for the town if,
If we held that up and it never saw fruition, and we didn't offer it, someone else came along and we said, no, this is tied up for 20 years.
Yeah.
I get it.
yeah, I mean, I'll root for the developer, but I'm rooting more for the town.
Agreed. Agreed. I'm just telling you, understanding that a little bit, that could be a deterrent.
That it could be a deterrent, yes.
Yes.
But what would you say that we should do?
I wonder if there is some language to say 25% at 12 months and then some type of schedule for every 6 months of an additional deposit or something to that effect.
It's non-refundable.
I mean, you'll know in 12 months how you're going. I mean, I don't know, I hate
Well, I
to
mean, the other thing is don't reserve it. The only,
for sure to say that it's
just
still.
wait till you know that you can
it's still-
complete it. But
It's yours until someone comes along and then we have to ask you to,
the developer is dependent upon the engineer
correct.
and the surveyor, and which is dependent upon weather and their schedules. And so we're sitting here screaming, we got to have it. And then unless they're on some kind of performance contract,
Yeah.
12 months is pretty quick though. I mean, depending on the size of the neighborhood. I mean, I don't know, we heard, 6 months ago on the 91 lots?
I mean, I talked to that developer 2 weeks ago and they didn't have a building.
But we talked to them about developing that property, and they have not reserved anything at this time.
Because we don't have a policy. And it hadn't, in talking with the previous administrator, it hadn't been a problem because growth just wasn't here. Subdivisions weren't coming. Now we've got subdivisions and capacity, so we need to lock it in to where it's just not all going at one time.
Well, we do have the advancement of the plan, so they'll step one and one with each other as long as we stay ahead of the curve.
So the ones that we have had presented to us now would not be subject, we would not go back and ask for those?
No, they do. They
They'd
would
have
follow
to
this
come in,
policy.
they would, okay.
Yeah, because they haven't submitted anything to us yet.
We haven't got a preliminary for,
We got a preliminary, but our policy would take effect, and I've already had a discussion with Cardinal Crest about this,
okay.
and they're fine, they understand it. They actually like it.
Because it guarantees that they got it. I mean, it is a plus.
They got it, yeah.
You start developing, you put all that money in it, and you don't
And
have it.
they never said anything about 12 months either. I pretty much said this is probably going to be adopted in what we're doing.
Well, the way I would handle it, if it was me, I would look at that 12 months and make daggone sure I can complete it in 12 months. But I would also want to know where your capacity is now and what you have coming in the pipeline.
Yeah. So
I would hold up on reserving my capacity until I can make the deadline.
So then do we leave it and just hope that that's the stance the developer takes, is that they're okay with it and just to hold off as long as possible till they're at that, starting today at that 12 months mark?
I'd love to see 18 months, but
I was gonna say, if we leave it at 25, let's do 18 months. 'Cause that gives them a year and a half.
Well, phase one is non-binding, it's just a letter of availability, let them know capacity's there, and they can hold it for 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, whatever. But once they're ready to go to phase two, that's when the commitment starts.
but you got to record that plat.
And I'm fine if we split it at 18 months, if that's,
Are we gonna go up on the fee?
that's,
Because I'm thinking to myself that probably if you don't go up on the fee, that I'm, that I'm pretty sure that one of those votes gonna be no. And I think I can tell you whose vote that it's gonna be.
Wait, what? Say again?
He counted his votes.
That if we go up from the 12 months to the 18 months, but we don't go up on the reservation fee, then I think I'm gonna politely say no.
I'll split hairs with you then. I'll say, instead of 25%, you go 5%, go to 30%. At 18 months.
Would that be a no or just a no?
In the interest of time, I
Wait, can we go back to the police conversation?
we'll go along with 30%
At 18 months.
at 18.
Okay. Is that your motion?
That's what I was getting ready to ask.
That is my motion.
I have a second. I have a second.
No.
All in favor?
Nice doing business with
Look at that. That's good.
you. That's a pork chop call, man.
You better leave them chops alone.
All right. Next on the agenda is a public hearing.
Can we have a public hearing this late?
Man, we're just getting started. Actually, nod while you're gonna wake up, we're only halfway through.
Look, is that the strategy to preserve public hearing till 11 o'clock?
It was advertised for 7. That's when the meeting started.
All right. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to open the public hearing for agenda item 13A, which is case number 030926A. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
All right, second.
Second.
All in favor? No, yes?
Oh, wait a minute, I got to make sure, yeah, that I'm thinking that this is the one that,
Can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
I'm trying to see is this the one that I may have to,
Oh,
Okay, so this one, oh,
that I may have to recruit.
This one's about the home occupation.
Yeah, because I have a home, occupation.
Okay.
So do I have to sit out that I'm thinking that I may have a conflict?
I don't think so, because you're not selling baked goods, are you?
No? Okay.
that's why I look like Walter.
Yeah, I think you're okay.
Just trying to figure it out.
so are you in agreement to go into public hearing?
Yes.
All right, motion passes 4-0. I will open the public hearing now. It's 9:48.
10:48.
Oh, no, they changed the time, right?
Oh, he did change it. Oh,
All right, so I will run through this. Let's see here. This went through the planning board. The planning board recommended denial. The applicant requested a text amendment to allow the preparation and sale of baked goods within a small, less than 120 square foot accessory structure, maintaining residential appearance and prohibiting outdoor sales or non-resident employees. Additional draft language proposed allowing up to 100 square feet of indoor retail activity within Class A, B, and C home occupations. The planning board recommended denial. What does this board have as far as discussion or questions?
So they're wanting to sell baked goods out of their home pretty much.
Yes.
If I'm
Out of an
understanding.
accessory building.
Yes, when I was told that they were gonna put a small building in their side yard and use that to sell out of. Right now, I think they're using a tin or something, when it rains, their stuff's getting wet, they have to move it in and out, so they were wanting to put a small building out there to do it.
Well, they actually have a little stand beside the road, and then she fills that stand. But the concern that I have with this is, and I think that the planning board might have had with this, is that this could go up beside your house and it brings the commercial areas into the residential areas. And you got cars pulling off the street and so forth.
Yeah, planning board comments were it didn't in line with the integrity of the ordinance, and it opened the door for potential home occupation of commercial sales in residential neighborhoods or developments. That's why they recommended denial.
Then looking at it.
And staff made a recommendation to deny this too as well.
And then probably looking at it from a health inspection perspective. There's really no way that they could really try to look at it and say they can inspect it. So,
All right. Any other discussion, questions? Can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we support the plan.
Oh. With that, I'm going to close the public hearing, which is 9:51. And with that, there will be no more discussion. And we'll move into a motion.
Okay, I make a motion that we support the planning board's decision to deny this request.
I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Can everybody speak at one time?
Yeah, I'll say.
I have a second by Commissioner Martin. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Your hand up. 3, 2, 1. Or all against? Oh, you did? I didn't see that. Okay. All right, so motion passes 4-0. All right. At this time, we're going to go into a second public hearing, and I would like to ask for a motion to enter the public hearing for the agenda item 13B, which is case 030926B. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
There he is.
A second.
Yes.
All right. Public hearing is now open. It's 9:52 p.m. And this was a text amendment involving reconstruction of non-conforming residential structures in commercial districts. So, correct me if I'm wrong, T.A. King, but anything that was destroyed as far as a residential house in a commercial district, it says now that it cannot be reconstructed, and they are talking about allowing it to be reconstructed within 180 days.
Correct.
I have concerns with the wording that they put in here. First of all, I don't know that you could get it completed in 180 days. Because you're talking about a house burns down, reconstructing it, you're probably not.
Must be.
Well, it has to be immediate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the other part I have is, it says not from neglect or deterioration. So, I mean, everything deteriorates. I don't care how good you maintain it, it's gonna deteriorate. So if all of a sudden I got a house that was built in 1920, my windows are going bad, you tell me I can't replace my windows? I can't go in and do any work to it to you know.
And you gotta remember too, this is in the commercial district. So, you know, this is a place where we would like to have businesses.
Well, I understand that, but if I had a house that was passed down from my family from generation to generation, and all of a sudden I've got windows that are deteriorating, I've got shutters that are deteriorating, you're telling me I can't go in and repair them?
But it says after catastrophic damage. And I wouldn't think that windows would,
Right, I get that part, that's fine, but it says, but not from neglect or deterioration.
Which becomes a personal, I guess. or-
Yeah, I think it just needs to be stating that as long as the house is existing, you can do whatever it needs to be done to it, to maintain it, redo it, whatever. It's yours, you should be able to keep your house.
Well, they were actually talking about reconstruction,
Right,
not upkeep.
but that's what I say, the wording's a little off on it. It leaves a little gray area of, okay, if my house is deteriorating, you're saying, here, I can't fix it, I can't rebuild it. I mean, maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it's the way it's worded in here, it leaves some gray area that I don't like.
Well, I think, reading back over, it says, residential structures located in commercial zoning districts may be rebuilt after catastrophic damage. So you have to have damage. Reconstruction will be allowed only when damage results in fire, natural disaster, or sudden accident, not from the neglect or deterioration.
That's what I'm saying, not from deterioration. Well, if it deteriorates, you're saying I can't fix
So
it.
you wouldn't need to reconstruct it if it was.
Yeah, in other words, it was an old rotten barn, it's old rotten barn or old rotten house. It fell down. You neglected it, so now you can't reconstruct it. You were not
Most likely-
taking care of it.
Most likely it's neglected. It's-
But that's what I'm saying, it's the wording I don't like.
So you want to
Yes, if you
strike
let it
those?
fall down in your backyard, that's one thing, but if it's deteriorating, my shutters are starting to show age and it's falling apart and I want to replace them,
So you want to strike that?
I'm just one person, but I think the wording is just a little gray and,
So let me see if I'm hearing you correctly. Probably if it was worded differently, then you would be okay with it.
yeah, I'll be okay with it, but, yeah, because the original one that was here was that if it burned down, you couldn't replace your house at all. And that is definitely not correct.
Well, what do you want
So-
to say?
So that's what I was just gonna say, would it be safe to say we could send this back to them, have them to reword it, and then bring it back?
can't we, take and reword it ourselves?
Yeah, you can, it doesn't have to go back.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you can reword it how you like. This is just their recommendation. But you can modify.
I think what they're saying is it's an old structure, and I think you understand too, but it's just, you don't like the word, but it's an old structure, it blows down, and now they want to come back and rebuild it because it was old structure.
If it blows down, it's a natural disaster.
That's right, it's a natural disaster, that's what I'm saying. But it says not from neglect, but you could look at that house before and say it was neglected.
I get that. I'm just, like I said, I understand where they're going with it. I just think the wording's a little gray in it, and it's,
Well, what's the word?
I don't know. I'm
Well,
not-
don't come in here, Rick. I don't like it, but you have to back it up.
I'll have to get on ChatGPT. Whatever, see, I don't even know how to say that. I'm technologically advanced.
Can
You can say
Commissioner Holmes send you an email with how he wants that to be
You can say,
rewritten?
homes neglected or deteriorating can be rebuilt pending, Johnson County inspection approval. Because if it's in that bad of shape, most of them are gonna need to be inspected. Because we're gonna call them out to look at it.
Yeah, we're going to have them go out.
Or something like that.
If we see something that's that bad, we're going to say, hey, you need to look at
I
it.
mean, and that's fine. I just don't want it where somebody comes in here and, they inherit a house. Let's just say the house has been abandoned for 10 years. And they get it in an inheritance, and we go in there and fix the house up. Well, they can't help it was neglected for 10 years if it was abandoned.
But if they fix it up, then it's not neglected anymore, it's been fixed up.
But I guess it's saying you can't really do it.
No, it's talking about reconstruction, you're talking about repairs. It's two completely different things.
I know.
What hill are we on right now, Commissioner Holmes?
It's
Just want to make
reconstruction.
sure that if
If
somebody
you're changing
inherits a house,
shutters, you're not
they can repair it
reconstructing.
if they need to, whether it's damaged, whatever.
Is this your house?
No, but you wouldn't believe how many people have come to me about this.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah, there's been a lot of heat on the street over it.
So, I mean, there's not that many houses in the commercial district. I know of
Like-
4, 5.
Yeah, I'm not gonna cast out any names, but I can tell you several of them have come to me and do not like this.
Well, I mean, if you took out not from neglect or deterioration.
Do we want to come back to this with some revised language and?
No, let's just take that out. and we don't have to worry about it.
Fine.
I'm not going to, if somebody wants to fix it, I mean, they're going to have to clean it up anyway. And if they want to fix it, they're going to have to begin reconstruction within 180 days. Just take those words out and roll on.
I took it.
Okay.
Motion to approve as amended.
All right. I have a motion,
I say,
So we're taking out the,
not from neglect or deterioration. All right, so that ends our discussion. Is that correct?
oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, on that one, yes.
So with that, I'd like to close the public hearing at 10 o'clock.
now we need a motion.
Now I need a motion.
Motion to approve as amended.
Okay.
I say,
I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. And the motion passes 4-0. All right. Now to the last public hearing. I would like to have a motion to open the public hearing for agenda item 13C, which is case 030926C. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
There is.
second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. And the motion passes 4-0. All right. And this is a text amendment, removal of R5 Mobile Home Park Zoning District Planning Board recommendation approval. The summary is the town initiated amendment proposes eliminating the R5 Mobile Home Park zoning district. The district currently allows mobile home parks by right without modern review standards. Removing R5 prohibits manufactured housing. It also ensures future proposals undergo appropriate zoning review. The town of Princeton prohibits single-wide mobile homes. However, double-wide homes and/or manufactured homes are permitted on single parcels only. And the planning board recommended approval, agreeing that the R5 district is outdated and that the removal strengthens the town's ability to manage growth and infrastructure impacts.
So a person can have a double wide for a manufactured home still?
Correct.
A double wide?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to have brick underpinning, that's in our policy,
Okay.
but no single wides. And we haven't allowed single wides in a couple of years yet. So this basically it's just cleaning up the policy, basically.
Make the motion that,
I've got one question. It says here removing R5 prohibits manufactured housing.
yes.
Which would be.
Double wide is a manufactured home, though, so that's
We need
what
to
wording issue.
reword that to single wide housing, or single wides, or mobile home, single wide mobile home.
Yeah, I think that needs to be changed because that tells, then you're down here saying manufactured homes are good. I would be arguing that all day long if I wanted one.
I was, when I read that, I was thinking that, because the original ordinance talked about the R5 mobile home park zoning district as, and it refers to it as, mobile home parks by right without modern, review standards. And it removed the R5, prohibits manufactured housing. It also ensures future proposals undergo appropriate zoning review. So the town prohibits single wide over homes, however, double wide homes and or manufactured homes are permitted on single parcels only. So you could not sit either the double or a manufactured home on multiple parcels of land.
No, most of them are gonna fall under, we don't even have R5 zoning on GIS now, on county GIS. So most of them are gonna fall under R1, 2, or 3, which has minimum lot sizes, setbacks, et cetera. So a modular or double wide could go on those pending they meet all the setback requirements and lot size.
Okay.
But only one structure per residence. We don't allow multiple structures on a parcel.
Right. So is there anything else about this particular ordinance that we need to change?
Other than striking the manufactured home, and I've changed it to single wide mobile homes, everything else is gonna fall under R1, 2, and 3.
Because you were talking about the manufactured housing following the removal R5 prohibits. You talking about right there?
Yeah. So, but again, what we're asking, or what the planning board recommended, is just eliminate this whole R5. Not
Right.
changing any wording, just eliminating R5 altogether, to where we don't even allow for mobile home parks at all,
Right.
which are single wide mobile home parks.
Okay.
That's what they're asking, is just to eliminate the whole thing. So we would go to R1, 2, 3, and 4, and not have an R5, and no single wides are permitted.
So a double wide or this manufactured home would go in to which one?
Depends on what property it is. If it's on R1, 2, 3, or 4, and then whatever property it is, they have to meet the minimum lot size for that zoning and the setbacks.
But they could have it, they could have a manufactured house or a double wide.
They could have either one,
With
but,
brick
yes, they could have either one in R1 through 4.
Or if it's gone.
R5 is gone, which basically says, we don't allow single wides now, we're just saying, we don't allow single wide mobile home parks, period. If somebody were to come in.
Yeah, because I'm thinking that I know a young lady, she was quite upset because she wanted to put a double wide on the parcel of land, but she wasn't able to. She lived in the ETJ.
I'm not familiar with that one. Did she call up here?
Then I'm sure she did.
Yeah, she can call tomorrow and I'll talk to her on it, but
That is past that now because I think I saw that she got some construction going on out there. I think she tore down another house and got.
That's what
But we get, or I get quite a few calls when people ask, can they put a single wide in town, and I don't know.
You talk to her, right?
Yeah, we met with her. It's the lady who was building the house behind the food line.
Oh,
We met with her.
Her holdup wasn't a town issue, that was a county issue. She had an issue with her well, and she didn't meet the setbacks of the distance of the well, no, septic, didn't meet the distance of the septic from where she was putting it at. We didn't have an issue with her. She didn't meet setbacks. She wanted to put the house back where it went. Septic tank was failing, she had to put a new one in, and it didn't have enough land.
But she got it worked out.
She got it worked out somehow, yeah.
Okay.
I remember,
So my question to the board is, do we need to remove manufactured, or can we just leave that where it says removing R5 prohibits manufactured housing? We don't have R5.
If we remove R5, you're removing
You're
all
removing
terminology.
everything. Yeah,
It's not even gonna be there.
we're just asking to take out R5 completely. So
Okay, so
everything
this-
you're reading is gone.
So that won't even be it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'd say
So
leave it
if
as
they do a
is.
modular or mobile, a modular double wide in R1 through 4 is permitted pending it meets the lot size and setbacks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going all together.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, any more discussion? If not, I'm gonna take us out of public hearing. Can I get a motion to come out of public hearing?
There is.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second, all in favor? Motion passes 4-0, and the time is 10:09. I did get a motion.
Oh, you get it.
So, Martin, correct? All right, with that being said now, can I get a motion to approve or disapprove?
Motion to approve.
All right, have a motion. Commissioner Holmes, get a second.
Get a motion to approve. Oh, okay, all right. Second.
I've got a second, Commissioner Martin. All in favor, raise your right hand. And the motion passes 4-0. All right. Next on the agenda is Planning Board and Board of Adjustment members update. And I'm gonna hand this over to T.A. King.
So, there's been discussion with the chairman of the planning board and the board of adjustment, and he's had discussion with the members. And currently we have 9 members on both boards. The planning board and board of adjustment are asking to reduce those to 5 board members. They think those 5 will be a sufficient number. These 5 have been contacted and will commit to serving on the board. They would be David Holt, chairman, Mike Thompson, co-chair, Brendan Williams, Eddie Haddock, and Robert Creech serving in the ETJ. The alternates of the planning board and the board of adjustment would be Jimmy Tart, Kayla Holmes, and Mark Manriquez was recommended to be approved on the planning board at the planning board meeting and needs to be approved by the town board. If approved, the planning board is asking that he be also approved onto the board of adjustment, serving as an alternate. And what the alternates do is serve when a regular member cannot attend, they fill in and have all voting rights. They can attend the meetings, but they do not have voting rights as an alternate.
How do you determine when you need the alternate in after you call around that morning, make sure everybody's gonna be there?
Either Brad or myself always email to confirm that everybody's going to be there, and we usually check back the same day of the meeting. But if there were alternates, it would go by list of order with Jimmy Tart to Kayla Holmes and then to Mark Enriquez to be in rotation.
All right, so what kind of motions do we need here?
Just a motion to amend our current ordinance that from 9 to 5 members, and both members, or these suggested members, would serve on both the planning board and the board of adjustment. I know it's on the agenda as 14A and B, but I think you can combine them together if there's a motion to approve the list as 14A and 14B as presented.
And as approving 14B would add Mark to.
That's
my question. So this is the new, you're not already on, okay.
No, he has to be approved by our board here.
So we need a separate motion for that.
You would need, what the planning board is asking you to, is to approve all of these as presented in one motion.
So we can do it in one.
You can do it in one, yeah. And I would say you would need to make a motion to approve the 5 members as presented and the 3 alternates as presented to serve on both planning board and board of adjustment.
Is Kayla already on there too?
Does someone want to give me a motion?
Where on the document does it say that they serve on both simultaneously?
It's on the very last page. The amendment outlines the structure, appointment terms, procedure, and statutory duties of both planning board and board of adjustment. Each consisting of 5 regular members, including 1 ETJ seat, and it should be 3 alternates, not 2. And this does align with North Carolina general statutes, and there's nothing that says they cannot serve on both boards.
So this was David was saying that we should look do this?
Yeah, David's been real involved in this. And the reason is we've got a couple members that have probably should be removed because they just haven't attended the meetings. And we're talking a year or two worth of meetings. They just haven't been to. And David's had conversation with all these, and they've all committed to serve.
Okay.
Motion to approve. Oh, wait, no, we're not still in.
I think there's a little bit of confusion there.
Okay, motion to approve 14A and B is presented. Couldn't keep up while we were still in the public hearing.
So we have a motion, we have a second, all in favor?
What is second? Oh, okay.
Is your hand up?
Yeah, my
All right, motion passes.
got a coffee cup in. I'm not sure that time.
Bring it on the top.
All right. Next on the agenda is a resolution for municipal property tax authority. And summary of the resolution, I'm just going to read this. The Town of Princeton resolution is urging North Carolina General Assembly to preserve municipal authority over property taxes. The resolution emphasizes that property taxes are the primary revenue source cities and towns directly control, and they fund essential local services such as police, fire protection, emergency response, sanitation, street maintenance, infrastructure, code enforcement, and general administration. This resolution notes that public safety alone typically consumes over 40% of municipal general fund budget statewide, and rising inflation since 2020 has significantly increased costs for personnel, equipment, fuel, and infrastructure. Any reduction in municipal property tax authority or revenue capacity would directly harm Princeton's ability to maintain critical services and meet state and federal mandates. Princeton urges legislators to avoid any legislation that would reduce or restrict municipal property tax authority unless a sustainable equivalent revenue alternative is provided. The town also requests that any proposed changes to the property tax system be carefully evaluated to ensure municipalities can continue funding essential services. Copies of the resolution will be sent to Princeton legislative delegation and the North Carolina League of Municipalities. This resolution partners with neighboring towns in Johnston County.
So, do we know that the House is actively trying to pass this statute?
There's been discussion, and even Representative John Bell had made a couple of comments about it recently. We mentioned this in our managers meeting back in March, and all the towns asked for a copy of a resolution that they can present to the boards, and all the towns support the same resolution as presented.
I'll offer you a motion, Mr. Mayor, that we pass this resolution because we need to be able to tend to our own business, and I think that the state house needs to mind their own business.
All right, I have a first and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. And motion carries 4-0. All right. Last on the agenda is second to last, is the library presentation and PCA discussion.
Was it first or do numbers first because they're all smiling?
Yay! Wow. To date, we have
Can you
had
state your name and address so we have it?
Thank
you.
Amelia Beer, 308 South Pearl Street, Princeton, North Carolina, here on behalf of the Princeton Public Library. At the time I sent our numbers in, we were over 900 patron visits since we opened around January 12th, I believe. That's amazing. Now we're up over 1,100 patron visits. So I believe we'll break 4,000 this year and continue to do great things. That was it. And we just want to say thank you for the building. It's been wonderful.
I was in there the other day, and it's very nice. Very nice. We sat down and had a PCA meeting,
Yep.
and it was awesome.
Christy Gardner, 106 Thompson Lane, Princeton. I'm here as the treasurer of the library. Michael, did you forward on the emails that we exchanged? Okay, great. I brought
I think I
it.
did.
Just the
Yeah, I think I got it.
Just in
They've
case.
got it in there.
You have it? Okay. So we're coming with our budget request. Michael told us to get in early, so we complied. You will notice it's an increase from last year's budget request, mainly because we are in that new beautiful building, and we're not having to pay our own electricity and water, which you covered before. So we're not actually asking for an increase in funding. We're asking you to transfer the funding you already covered to us and give us the $3,000 that you covered for electrical and water last year to us so we can cover it this year. Our full budget is above $18,000. We plan to fundraise to completely finish it out, so we're not asking you for money and not doing our own part as well. We're splitting it 3 and 3. Anybody have any questions about funding?
We're also raising.
We have a grant writer working for us now too. Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Yes.
You have a what?
A grant writer.
Is
Through
it
charitable donation, she's working on our behalf, so.
A donor has offered to pay her fee, so we're not paying
Wow.
her fee.
No questions?
Any questions? What, I'll ask one. Why is 2023 and 2024, we got salaries at around $8,000, and then this year we're at $13,000?
Yeah, we knew you would ask that question. After we came here last year and sat through the other budget meeting that went to 11 o'clock, and we heard all of the increases, merit increases or whatever, we have not had a raise at the library in 5 years, 6 years?
I've been there for 8 years and this is
8
my
years.
first raise.
And so we saw that Bojangles was off, we were paying $11 an hour, and we saw Bojangles was offering 15. And so we decided this year we would do 15 to match Bojangles because it'd been 8 years, probably more, since they've had a raise for the librarians. But that's the jump. It's not a jump in hours, it's just a jump in pay.
So you're not adding anybody? You're-
No, we didn't add any staff. We actually went down with staff. We had 4 in 23 and 24, and now we're at 3.
I have a question, and I don't even know if it's necessary, but it's just something I thought about. What is the intended, for like for the author's brunch? What is the plan, or is for that? Like, I know this last
Did you
one.
send them this one too? I guess you did if you knew the 3 years. Did you send them this one too?
Right.
The last one I sent you, okay. Basically, we still have $24,000 worth of furniture to buy. And so what we had done, I got one.
We're hoping some of those covered with the grants that this lady's writing on about.
If you'll notice the green highlight at the top, that was where you funded us too much those 2 years because we were only open half a year last year. If you take those down to the bottom, you see that we're using that for furniture and fixtures. So just to be completely transparent. We have about $24,000 left to finish off the furniture and fixtures needed. So the author's brunch will go to help finish that out. And then the $3,000 in budget. We got big plans for the author's brunch. So we're only asking you to cover the electricity and the water that you were previously covering last year and the year before. So it would already be in your budget for the town. And then we'll fundraise to cover the salaries.
If the town couldn't do but what it did last year, what does that do to you?
It will hurt. We won't be able to finish out the furniture and fixtures this year, so we would have to prioritize what we do, because we did not feel good paying our people $11 an hour when Bojangles was paying their people $15 an hour, so we're sticking with the salary increase. So we would fundraise and do whatever.
May I add a couple things? I know it is a new build, some things that, looking at the budget that we need to consider, that is a town expense, is we would cover annual pest control, which is about 500, annual pressure washing is about 15, landscaping upkeep, lawn care is about 15, fire inspection is about 300, and we're paying for the exterior lighting in the parking lot, which is 2,400. So that's about $6,200 that the town is paying for to assist with the library. We
But you-
split it in half.
Yeah.
So that's $3,100. So if you were to allocate 15, that $3,100 would be the $18,000, and that would be my recommendation.
So is that the same way that the library came to the 18,000?
I added back the energy and the water because y'all were paying for that last year. So to get the 18,000, that's what I did. As I said, you were paying for energy and water last year, so you had it in your budget somewhere. And you'd be paying all these things on the building, whether we were part of it or not, because it'd be the full building still. And so I just took it as the energy and the water to get 18.
And so you were saying, Mr. Administrator, that because we that we paid for some lights and
We're paying for all the exterior lighting, the town is, in the parking lot. And it's a shared
Right.
venture. So we're paying, roughly, we estimate $2,400 a year
Right.
for the exterior lighting that the town is paying.
okay.
That you would have in the parking lot either way, whether the library was there or not. You'd still have the lights in the parking lot.
Wouldn't that be true?
Not necessarily, this building than half the size.
Yeah. And it may not be as many lights. I mean, this is a 50-50 partnership. So there may not be as many lights, as many parking spots, because in a smaller building,
Would have had it.
there's several things. Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm just giving you budget numbers
Yeah.
that from the town side.
So with those numbers, are you saying that you were counting those and so they'd have to come up with $3,000 from?
What I'm saying
from
is
those
that
sources?
expense is about $6,200 roughly. If you were to allocate 15 and we just took care of everything here, that's the $3,000 difference, which is the 18,000 they're requesting. If not, you allocate them 18, we're gonna have to cover the whole thing at $6,200. So
Are you
in
saying-
reality, they get about 24,000.
Are you saying under this, we would now be splitting the external light bill?
No, we would still pay it, but
Okay.
you wouldn't get the 18,000 request because we would take it off of the allocation to keep it to pay that debt.
In essence, I think
I'm trying to
18,
explain it to me like I'm five.
So he's saying he'll
We
give
pay
us
the light
15.
bill that you
Yes.
use outside.
Outside,
Yeah.
Right, so we've got
So when you-
2,100,
when
so
you
if
go
you
out at
add
night-
the 3,100 there, we really need 24 or 25 if we have to pay everything. He's saying he's gonna give us 15, and so we would
Well,
have
I'm
to
just
make
saying
it
if
up.
the board were to give you 15.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
in the budget, but you know.
But we had to factor in, again, crunching numbers and looking at our expenses and everything, new building, where the last building had very minimal, we didn't have pressure washing, no lawn care hardly, no exterior lighting and things, and now that's an expense that we have to take on. And again, these are just ballpark numbers off of some,
You're also renting it more than you were, right?
Which will help cover some of those.
but we also have to pay a cleaning fee as well that, to keep the building up, so.
Right.
I'm too fond of that. And I would say this, that, if the board was inclined to do that, I would recommend that we not do it, starting out of the gate, that perhaps we may, give at least, a 1 to 2 year, period of time, where we would waive those, where we would stay at the $18,000 figure. They have, you just have had how many visitors, did you say?
To date, over 1,100 visitors.
I mean, we have spent time with the Parks and Rec, saying that this is what the people want. That's what the people want. And we could nickel and dime them, but they are helping over 1,000 Princeton citizens, and whether or not they all live inside the city limits, I don't know. But I'm kind of thinking it don't matter that they live in the area. And so, that I think that we should leave the funding request at the 18, and that we should just absorb the others. That's the short version.
Thank you.
I don't think we have to approve it to bonding, that would be approved with the budget.
Yeah, so what do we want to do? What do you want to do as a board to look at it in a budget, just as we're doing the police officer? Do you want to take it and put it in at 18 and see what everything looks like, and then we can revisit once we get all of our numbers back and see what we got to do? Because I think we've got some commissioners that are very adamant that they don't want to raise taxes, and then we've got several pretty big line requests.
I think it'd be worth seeing, I have a couple of things to say. I think it'd be worth seeing what the 18 would look like. I think it's a valid point that Commissioner Martin makes, that you cannot assign a monetary value to the value that the library, its programs, and what it offers brings to our community. The people, we don't know when they visit there, are they going to get something to eat down the street? Are they also looking at the community space as a potential birthday party space? We don't know those numbers and what that actually is, offering the town. But what I do think would be beneficial, and I don't know how this is achieved, but just like we've been talking about with the fire department, and how, we need to come up with some type of plan on how we're going to address every year how we're going to handle these funding requests. I think something similar needs to be put in place with the library that has some type of schedule that we work on, so that every year we're not accounting for Bojangles' pay and what that means. And it would just make everyone's lives a lot easier. Expectations would be understood, and that's what I would say. I understand that to the point of this is covering utilities, and this is the first year of knowing what those utilities look like. And I get it, and I see it from all the angles, but I also don't want to be, no matter if it's library or who else, in a position of year after year trying to figure out what's the right amount. So I guess we should see what the 18 looks like, but we also need to try to figure out how to set some type of schedule, whether it's a not to exceed, whether it's a, whatever that looks like, we need to come up with that.
Is that something you want us to draft and
Well,
bring to y'all, or
I mean,
y'all to draft and?
I guess it would be a good place to start. If it's something we review every 5 or 10 years, and it's hard for you to project, but something to start with.
We actually have a 5-year strategy plan, so we'll share it.
Okay. It would be helpful. It will help us to kind of understand where y'all are at with what you are seeing for, you know, what your expenses are going to continue to be and what we need to be thinking about.
Okay. I am up here for PCA stuff too, though. Do I need to restate my name? So I was asked by the PCA board to ask the Princeton County Commissioners to waive the permit fee for special event permits for the Pumpin' Up Princeton this year on May 30th and the Princeton Fall Festival September 19th. I believe it's $150, and we're looking to see if y'all would come some slack on that this year as sponsorships have been low. Everybody's stressed out about taxes and things going up, so we just have not gotten as much support for Pumpin' Up Princeton, the concert that we would normally get. So
How much is that fee?
it's $150
$150?
per special event permit.
Well, I think we've had several of those come through, Princeton.
Pamela.
And yeah, Pamela has come in, they paid theirs. The Princeton Church has also had some. So I don't think it would be fair for us to waive that fee for PCA. Is that the board's consensus?
I mean, I don't see how you can do it for one and not do it for the rest. I mean, it's,
Doesn't hurt to ask, is what they said.
no, it doesn't hurt
So-
to ask. But you know, if we do it for you, then we'll have Prince Church come here doing it right, and it's just gonna snowball. And if we tell you no, that you know, or we tell somebody else yes, you would be offended. You'd be like, well, you told us we couldn't get it waived, but you waived it for them. So it's just muddies up the water.
The other thing I was asked to speak on was the Princeton Fall Festival in general, due to complaints regarding road closures. TA King recommended I come up here and just make y'all aware of the Fall Festival, and I also took it upon myself to survey all of our downtown business owners ahead of time. I missed 6 actually because I was busy, but I got, I don't know, 11 signatures, 1 opposed business, and then the rest of them are for the road closures in the event. I don't know what else you want me to say on that.
Yeah, so in summary, we have one business that is in opposition of closing down
There
Center
were 6
Street.
I missed.
For you.
There were 6 businesses I've not asked yet.
Yeah. I know.
I have 10 yeses and 1 no.
I know of one that came last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, I can't remember, in opposition to closing the event, closing down Center Street because it hurts their business. They had politely asked the board to reconsider closing down Center Street for these events, possibly move these events to the community center property or the elementary school.
I would actually like to recommend that we make an ordinance for it, maybe. In our zoning ordinances, under temporary uses, we have ordinance language for carnivals and circuses, but nothing for special events. So I couldn't even find where this is even a requirement for me. in our current town ordinance. And I don't know if y'all would want to consider adopting language that makes it fair across the board. Anybody organizing an event has to notify all the business owners X amount of time ahead of time, just to be courteous, and we have to notify the residential properties within a certain amount of time, just to be courteous. Like, let's make sure we're all following the same rules, and that way nobody gets upset about it.
And their event is not the only event that I've received complaints on. I've received complaints on other events that PCN is not doing.
Trust me, I know. They call me.
So,
I don't know if y'all wanna look at it.
So, should we, think about changing the location of some of these events?
So we change it because of one person employed?
No, but I mean, I think the administrator said that, it's more than one venues.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, for this event here, well, yes, because of what goes on Center Street throughout the year, the business has asked,
They close 4 times a year,
yeah,
or the street's closed.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's the same one that's complaining every time.
yeah.
And I talked with them, and they said they really appreciate that I was coming to them well in advance to let them know about the road closure potentially. And, I'm not sure if just doing that and making sure that everybody's doing that is going to be enough to alleviate the tension there, but I think it's a step in the right direction.
Well, I think that stemmed from, something that we were doing, and we actually didn't close the road at that time, and they closed their business, and they were kind of,
Well, I think they're all independent workers per se, and from what she said, they on average lose about $500 a piece on Saturday when it closes down. Again, it's about 4 times a year, and we want to support our businesses and everything, so
Yeah, that, I mean, $500 would get my attention.
$2,000 a year.
And so, was there any particular reason that we chose that block to do it in?
Just the center of the town, trying to keep,
This
the main thing is
event
keep
is-
businesses open while the event's going on, so people would shop.
Yeah.
But this is not a retail store, it's an appointment store.
And it's the widest street. And it's got the widest area.
Yeah, and I will say,
And it's not an empty dump room.
and I will say
It's not
that
an empty dump room.
all the parking downtown is public parking. There are no assigned designated area to any particular business. So if you were to park in front of Woodard's and leave your car there all day and go to Tippy Toes to dance, they can't say anything about it. I mean, it's all public parking. I don't know if you dance or not, I just threw that out there.
If I do dance, I'm gonna make sure I do it at Tippy Toes.
Good answer.
Sure, it
Well, and I will say, last week, Friday, they had a funeral, and it blocked everything.
Right.
And so and I'm sure some customers couldn't get in at that point.
Right.
So, I mean,
Where do we draw the line though?
but I think she's here just to inform you that if they continue, there could possibly be complaints that come in. It could be coming to the board again.
If you would
Well, I
like to
was
see,
also here because I drafted a ordinance for y'all because we don't have an ordinance currently regarding the use of special event permits.
which I think that's a great idea, to get something right.
Yeah.
Good idea.
We're very hard on it.
Good for you, May, thank you.
And it's highlighted and numbered,
Mhm.
and it's very strict, but we can change it.
Is that why you emailed me wanting all this stuff?
Yes, sir. That's part of it.
Good.
Put me to work.
For me.
I How much do you get paid?
Motion to adjourn.
She's a consultant.
Oh,
We're not ready.
okay.
We have a proclamation. You wanted to do that, right?
No, next month.
Next month,
Yes,
okay?
if you don't mind, my girl.
It would be the May
Fourth.
4th
May
meeting.
the 4th.
So you want to do it in May then?
All right, we'll do that
We'll
next month.
just,
Sounds good.
Thank you.
so we'll add it to the May meeting. Okay.
All right, I have a motion to adjourn.
Oh, wait a minute. I have one thing, and I thought we were gonna do it earlier, but, with great pride, that I would like us to acknowledge a young man that is protecting our country, for many years now. But please stand, sir.
Yes. Agreed.
You know, I am, every time I see those boys' faces, I am so proud of them. And it means something whenever, our young men make up in their mind that they're going to defend us, in the military. And thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for all of you. It's fun to be here to see democracy working as I leave in 2 weeks to go work in the U.S. Embassy in Tunisia for a year. So it's good to be home to see local government function.
He volunteered to come. And I tried to get him to leave.
Commissioner Boyette and I took, I think, world history together in high school, so it's fun to be back here. And so thank you.
And he's also, and his brother, both excellent when they were across country. And my dad would often tell my younger brother, "You need to get better time. Look at Quinn and Lane."
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We've got a motion.